What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we got 3 topics, and we actually have another broadcast that we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna end this stream and then go to that one, but we have 3 topics. We're gonna be talking about Activision preventing cheaters or doing something with cheaters. We'll talk about that in a second. We're gonna talk about Grand Theft Auto publisher says video games should be theoretically be priced at dollars per hour, dollars per hour. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the travesty of how far MCU has fallen. And that the Marvel's box office opening weekend breaks a 15-year record. And it's not a good one. So these are the topics that we're going to talk about today. If you like what we do here, please make sure you share, like, subscribe. We do a morning show Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. So yeah, if you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. After noon, at 12 o'clock, we're going to try to get through these 3 stories before 12 o'clock. We're going to go to the Video Game Award nominations, all right? So in our community, we have our nominations that were up there. They've been up there since August 7th. So it's been up there August, September, October, now November, been up there for 4 months. We have I locked it in. I took a screenshot of it. So if you go there now, it doesn't really matter. But that's the lock-in. I want to see if our community, how futuristic we could predict these 6 nominations for the majority of our community. So appreciate anyone that voted in our Discord. What's going on, Jesse Mack? What's going on, Dave Rose? Water. Morning. Eclipse. What's going on, Soy 2? What's going on, Big Mo? Travis, good morning. How's everyone doing? Why is how come I don't see your, it says it broken links there, Mo? What is that? Oh, it says Game Pass. For some reason, it didn't show up on my screen. It's like broke for some reason. But on YouTube, it's fine. So we're good. Travesty my ass. They knew what they were doing. I mean, it's still a travesty, Eclipse. Right? It's still a travesty. Let's go on, Silent Warrior. That's just the Xbox 30. It's broke. Yeah. No, see, inside YouTube, it's inside my program, inside my streaming program. It has broken links, which is weird, because I want to see if it breaks for me. No, it worked for me. It just doesn't like Mo. It just doesn't like Mo. All right. So the first topic I want to talk about, I saw these 3 topics, right? And the 2 that really got me, this one heading, we're going to talk about it in the second story, was the publisher, GTA 6 publisher, says that video games should theoretically be priced at $1 or dollars per hour. I was like, oh boy. Here we go. Right? So we'll talk about that. But we're going to start off. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I got to switch. Hold on one second. I have to switch this thing up here. I forgot to do that. Over the weekends, I forget to change it. Watch my stream breaks down now. There we go. All right. We don't want anyone to get confused on what topics we're talking about. What's going on, Intervoid? What's going on, Hellspawn? What's going on, Tiny? So what's the today's nerd outrage? Well, the nerd outrage today, Tiny, is going to be once the nominations happen, the internet's going to melt down regardless, because, and I really think it's just because of Starfield. If Starfield gets nominated in the top 6, the internet explodes, because they'll be like, there's no effing way. And if it doesn't get nominated, people will be like, look at that. I told you that piece of is not going to get. So either way, it's going to be an entertaining day for the Video Game Awards show nominations. As I said, never go full rock star. All right, so if you guys don't know, if you're first time here, what we do is we bring up 3 topics, okay? I have a back and forth with you guys, not as a debate. It's not a debate. It's just to have a conversation, right? Lono does debates. right? Lono does debates, and he does them well, right? I do not do debates. We read the news. We have conversations about the news, and I read back and forth your comments in the chat. So bear with me. As a small streamer, it's easier to go through chat and see it. You know, as more people come in, it's going to be harder for me to see everyone's chat or whatnot. So, like I said, bear with me. So, all right, let's start off. We do little breakout videos. So I stop the music. We have a conversation, and then if you guys didn't notice, I don't push out notifications for our shorts, but I put a bunch of shorts out this weekend. I'm doing like a test run on shorts. So I take the tail end of each of my breakout videos, okay? And it's just a question. I give my little thought, I give my little question, and that gets as a short. So if you haven't seen those, maybe you have seen those, it'd be awesome to engage with those as well. No debate, just a huge disagreement. That's right. That's right. There's no debate. It's your way and my way, and that's just it. Travis says, if Starfield gets nominated, it's fine. We already know it's a dog and pony show anyway. You're not wrong, Travis. You're not wrong. Here's the thing. A couple of people, when the joystick awards, everyone's like, oh, these are not the real awards. No, they're awards, right? They're a award show. There's many award shows. So there's going to be games that already won award for best game of the year, which is Baldur's Gate has won the ultimate game of the year in the joystick awards. Then there was games that won for PlayStation. There was games that won for Steam. There was or for PC. There was games that won for Xbox. So there's like all these nominations for like winners of those game or consoles or platforms, I should say. And then there's the overall, which Baldur's Gate 3 won the joystick awards. Starfield is good, not great. And that's the best game on Xbox then. You know, it won best game for Xbox. And I don't know if that's true that came out this year. I mean, I love Starfield, right? But I think Hi-Fi Rush, in my opinion, should have won. For just Xbox. Well, we all know this is the awards that count. Yeah, I guess, sure. Travis says, besides, we all know that Game of the Year is clearly Star Wars Outlaws. What do you mean? This is the award show that's televised, so it's pretty much the one that everyone brings up. Yeah, but doesn't mean it's the one-all be-all. That's just Keighley trying to make it that. You know what I mean? In the public eye, you're absolutely correct. The video game award show in the public eye is the one-all be-all. Dave Rose says Starfield definitely not getting nominated. It was just mid in a year of great games. Would it be mid in a game of great games, or would it be a great game with other great games that were just better than it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know a lot of people give Starfield shit. I'm not saying it's perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it's a pretty goddamn good game. But when you compare it to games like Baldur's Gate and Zelda and what else? Like Hogwarts, I think it is a mid-tier game compared to them. Silent Warrior says, to be fair, I have 100+ hours in Starfield and 20 in Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 2 is a hard crash on my console 5 times, and Starfield has done it 0. Yeah, and again, Warrior, I think different people have different experiences, right? Like, I always tell a story about Fallout 76. While the internet was melting down on Fallout 76, I had no issues until hour 82, and then it broke the game. What's going on, Soups? We all know Jusant will win it all. Well, I don't even think it's nominated this year. I don't think it made the cutoff. I don't think it made the cutoff. That's pretty funny, Travis. Well, the public eye has glaucoma. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Remember, 89 is trash. That's right. If it's not above an 80, if it's not above a 90, it shouldn't even get nominated, right? Big Mo says, Starfield is shit, but let's keep talking about it 3 months after it's been out. Yeah, mid-game. Well, that's why I say, Mo, I think it's actually a really good game, right? But with other games around that came out, I think you can look at it as a mid-tier game. I can see that. All right, so let's do this. Let's get this this first story out here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Activision is already pulling Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 maps because of terrible spawns. And we're also going to talk about Activision warns Warzone cheaters it may cut their parachutes randomly and for fun. So if you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button, and let's get to it. So the first article comes from IGN. They both come from IGN. And the very first one is Modern Warfare 3 is out today, November 10th. So this is after this article was written a couple days ago, and already Activision has had put a various multiplayer maps on the game out of the game because of the spawn points that were causing absolute carnage. Now, one map in particular was Quarry. When played the hardpoint game mode, was found that the spawn players are the same spot over and over again, letting the opposing team gun them down for fun. Okay, so you can see all that. There's a bunch of different clips there. Now, but Activision hasn't just pulled Quarry. Hardpoint playlist for unfavorable spawns. It also pulled Rundown, Scrapyard for the same reasons. And Activision remove Karaki from the Cutthroat playlist, while also working to resolve the issue causing a player to spawn alongside enemies. Before I even continue reading this article, I think this is asinine 100%, right? I don't understand, because I know a lot of people will come to the run to protect the Activision and Call of Duty because it's just such a good game, right? But how the hell in 2023 can we make a game where spawn points are this shit? How? How can we do it? How can they do this? How can someone that makes the same game every year with maps and spawn points and knows choke points and knows what's a good point or bad point, how can they make maps like this? Thank you very much for that. We're going to pause for a second. Okay, so how, I appreciate that. I'll say thank you after this, right? How are we supposed to take them seriously when Activision, who is the masters of making Call of Duty games, and yet for some reason they just can't get the spawn points correctly? Now, maybe you're a person that's been with the company. Maybe you're a brand new person with the company, okay, and you just don't know how the maps work, okay. But even if you were a fan of Call of Duty, maybe you were 13 when the game came out and now you're 26, don't you think you would have played enough games to go, yeah, I don't want those shitty spawn points again. And when I get on that game, it's not going to happen. But yet here we are in 2023, and Modern Warfare is still making shitty-ass maps with shitty spawn points, okay? So it says it's not a great start for Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, which had a high-profile open beta last month. Overnight, a fresh report alleges that Modern Warfare 3 was developed in a year and a half rather than a typical 3-year development cycle, leading to heavy development crunch within the studio. Okay, Modern Warfare 3's single-player campaign is seamlessly troubled, underbaked, rehashed, and collaborated together from multiple parts of Modern Warfare 3's single-player campaign is everything a Call of Duty story shouldn't be. Okay, so I've said this for years, that Call of Duty is the Madden football of first-person shooters, okay, where they're just reusing assets. So not only did they make crappy spawn points in maps, but they also did all of this in a year and a half. And as I've said in past broadcasts, there's no difference now between an alpha, a beta, a early preview, early access, none of it. It's all the same. It doesn't matter if a game goes gold, it's all the same. It's a test. It's an alpha, it's a beta, it's a preview, it's an early access. It doesn't really matter, okay? And they'll fix it along the way. Thank you for your hard-earned money up front, day one, and we'll fix it over the next 9, 18 to 24 months. And by that time, with a Call of Duty game, it doesn't really matter at that point because, well, the next Call of Duty game is coming out next year. So it's just tick, tick, tick. Here we are, release date. Now you have 362 days before the next Call of Duty game comes out. All right, so let's go to number 2 now. Activision warns Warzone cheaters it may cut their parachutes randomly and for fun. Activision has an issue of fresh warning that Warzone cheaters it may cut their parachutes so they splat on the ground. So in a blog post responding to the concerns about cheating in Call of Duty, the launch of Modern Warfare 3, Activision explained that its new trick it has in store for cheaters is to free to download Battle Royale with a splat. If a cheater is discovered, we may randomly and for fun disable the parachute, sending them screaming down onto the ground deploying, Activision says. It says, but what if we catch them after the deploy? Well, Splat can also adjust players' velocity, which transforms a bunny hop into a 10,000-foot drop, taking them out instantly. This is one of the many new tricks we've developed, and we talked about more in the future. Okay, it says Activision is stressed that the Splat won't randomly turn on for a player that isn't verified to be cheating. Player reporting won't turn it on either. And also the game can't accidentally activate it either. So video game cheat experts recently warned Modern Warfare 3 players on PC would be riddled with cheaters. And in an investigation by IGN, we dug into this, the reasons why companies like Activision find it so hard to stop them. Well, I could tell you why they don't want to stop them. Because if they stop the cheating, then more people wouldn't play the game. And if people stop playing the game, then there's less people in the lobbies. And there's less people in the lobbies, and there's less people playing the game, and there's less people trying to buy microtransactions. Okay? It says, quote, while it's fun to annoy cheaters that make it into the game, our aim is to prevent them from ever getting near a match. Activision said before calling the players to enable two-factor authorization to secure their accounts. Activision also uses in a blog post to dig into the challenges it faces keeping cheat makers on their toes. It said that the game executable, which is also a must send to players so they can also play Call of Duty, obviously contains detailed instructions for how the game itself works. Activision said that this was a little sending out copies of their house keys. Imagine trying to keep a bad guy who has copies of your keys from breaking into your home, and the company added. It continues by saying Activision is using Ricochet anti-cheat, and the game is harder to unlock front door and has deployed new obstruction techniques to make the game code harder and cheat makers to analyze and digital locks the entire Call of Duty executable, so it's harder for the cheat developers to modify the code and remove protections. It says, quote, this is ebb and flow of anti-cheat security, Activision explained. It continues by saying part of the issue with Modern Warfare 3 specifically is that its sequel built upon the foundation laid in its predecessors, as IGN reported. In the same way that developer might port the game to another platform, cheat makers port the cheats to sequels. This is how cheats like wall hacks and aimbots are available to Modern Warfare 3 beta before it even went live. Quote, when we take steps to stop cheaters, we readjust their process and look at the new opportunities, Activision said. The nature of multiplayer games is where our systems and servers exchange information with your computer, the client, and also make multiplayer action happen and how cheating can occur. Our anti-cheat efforts tackle each touch point in the trust process from the client to the server-side systems, enhancing the process of the machine learning from the combat to unfair play. So there you go. Modern Warfare 3 is the first Call of Duty game to launch following a Microsoft $69 billion game, but don't expect it to hit Game Pass until 2024. All right. So here's my thoughts. One, my thoughts on the Modern Warfare map thing is just laughable at this point, right? Again, Activision's a company that's been making Call of Duty for half my life. Okay, I'm 45 years old, and they've been making games for like 20-something years. And it's just laughable that they keep coming out with maps year after year with crappy spawn points, and they don't design a map to stop people from closing in and just killing and spawn killing as it is. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's okay for this to keep happening, especially in 2023? Like, how can a company make, I don't know how many Call of Duties there are now, and how many maps from each of those games, but they can't ever fix the spawn point situation and where people just keep coming out and killing at spawn points. And then the cheater aspect of the article, where Activision is cutting the parachutes of people, making them fall directly to earth and splat on the ground, I think it's actually kind of funny. But they do this all the time. These are just like news story after news story. The last Call of Duty, they put the hologram of players so they could find out cheaters. And then there's the other cheater program where they were doing, I forget what the other patent they were doing. And now there's the cutting of the parachute. At this point, it's just, I think they're having their own standalone game behind the scenes. They're like, yeah, we're going to make a game and let the cheaters go in, and then we're just going to have fun, messing with the cheaters. So one is putting holograms in the game to make it look like they're tripping out, so they don't know if they're actually shooting at a real person or a false person. And now they're just cutting the parachutes before they even get down to the ground. So one, if they find the cheater up in the air, they can just make them go splat. And if they do make it to the ground, then they're shooting at holograms. How do you think that leave it in the comment section down below. How do you think they could actually fix these problems? One, the map spawn issues. And two, how do they combat cheaters? Let me know in the comment section down below. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours. And see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching. All right, let me go back up. Soy2, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. The real meltdown if Hogwarts gets nominated. Do you think that's worse than if Starfield gets nominated? Do you think that's worse if Starfield gets nominated? If Hogwarts gets nominated? I think it's stupid that Hogwarts doesn't get nominated because of what the writer did, the creator of Harry Potter did, which the game is not judged on in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, I think that's the stupidest thing. Water says, you know that Call of Duty 3 is Game of the Year, baby. Let's go. Probably the worst Call of Duty release ever. I don't know. I think it's the worst Call of Duty release to date now. Maybe. Because I remember when Cold War came out and then the future Call of Duty came out. Everyone was always complaining about those as well. Dave Rose says, nobody's talking about Starfield anymore. Heck, most took a break and never went back. I will say the second term, Rose, or the first one you said that no one's talking about, most people didn't go back. One, people are still talking about Starfield. It is. You might not be following the people that are talking about Starfield, but there's still people talking about Starfield. And two, I think you're right about never going back. But I don't think that has to do with Starfield itself. I think that has to do with all these other games coming out and that people have a finite amount of time. So I don't think that's more of a dig towards Starfield. I think that's a dig towards people's time, right? Because you could say the exact same thing. There's less people talking about Spider-Man right now than there is Starfield. And Spider-Man came out 3 weeks ago. Travis says it's because people have too much money and not enough sense. Or time. Wait, we took Activision serious. When was that? I haven't. I haven't took it serious forever. Dude, yeah, these are recycled maps. What do you expect? They only did it for a year and a half. They created the game. Copy pasta. To be fair, Sledgehammer's Call of Duty are usually trash anyway. They still sell millions. Regardless if it's trash or not, that's the problem, Mo. That's the problem. Doesn't matter if it's trash. It still sells more than games that... It still sold more than what Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year, right? Like, get that. Let's get that, right? Baldur's Gate 3, which will probably win Game of the Year, sold less than a shitty, trashy game of Call of Duty every single year. If I bought Modern Warfare 3 on any system, you're definitely a part of the problem, because WTF. But that goes into a conversation, Water, of, look, if you like a game, you like a game, right? If you like a game, you like a game. But once you like a game, if the game is broke, buggy, unfinished, and you still like it, cool. Just don't defend your game because you like it. You got to admit that it's a bad game. I'm amazed that we're wasting nerd rage on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I thought we figured out that the IP was trash grabbed several years ago. I did, Tiny. I've been off of Modern. We did play DZ last year when it came out to test it out, but I haven't bought a Call of Duty since 2009. My favorite Call of Duty 4, but yes, Modern Warfare is way better. So is Black Ops. World of War was mine. Water says, my problem is why Rush making this. It was pretty much DLC. I could tell people could had to remove Modern Warfare 2 campaign in order to play the goddamn Modern Warfare 3 one. I miss some of the old maps from early CODs, but it's all recycled garbage. Travis says, it's a shame that people overlook Japanese games. Yuzuka is better than most Western games. Most, not all. But those sell really well over there, and they're a niche market over here, Travis. What's going on, Ron? What's going on, Farmer? Farmer says, I haven't played Call of Duty games since Ghost, and I've missed nothing. Ron says, Call of Duty makes great money no matter how bad reviews are. Yeah, because most people don't care, Ron. And this is my point a couple weeks ago when I said people don't care about reviews. And when I say people, I mean the majority. Majority of people don't care about reviews. The people that care about reviews are people that respect their money, right? They respect their money or time. If you look at a review, you're like, I got $70. What game am I buying? And you're like, all right, let's see if this game's good. Or you're doing some research. Maybe you're not looking for a review, but you watch a person play it live. And you just see it. You're visually seeing it with your eyes, right? You're not going to any reviews. You're just looking at it. Maybe you ask a couple questions to a streamer, and you figure it out if you like it or not, right? But majority of the people don't care. They don't care. And the people that think are like, well, I care. I read reviews. Saying that nobody cares. Majority of people do not care about reviews. This year was flooded with games. I'm overwhelmed trying to play a handful of games with the available time. Yeah, time is always a problem. Doesn't matter if you're young. Doesn't matter if you're old. Doesn't matter if you're rich. Doesn't matter if you're poor. We all have the exact same amount of time. Travis says, COD is the Asian fast food of gaming is garbage, but somehow people keep thinking it's good. This is why I'm not playing until Game Pass. I mean, I practice what I preach, Mo, right? Battlefield, I'm a big fan of Battlefield, right? Battlefield was trash when it came out. And I said, not touching it until it comes out to Game Pass, right? Battlefield 5, I didn't touch until it went on super sale. And I picked up both copies for me and Sarge for less than a 20. I refuse to give a company full price for a game that they refuse to finish at launch. First impressions to me are everything. You come out day one, I'm still not buying your game day one, okay? Unless you can prove to me that your game is good. Now, for instance, I bought RoboCop day one, okay? I didn't pre-order it. Day one, I bought it, okay? I don't need the extra, extra edition or whatnot. I bought it because I played the demo. The demo sold me. And because the demo sold me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you my hard-earned money, okay? And I'm going to play your game. And I enjoy it. Regardless if it's a 71 or a 76 on Metacritic, because I don't give a shit, okay? I'm playing the game because it sold me on what it was. Now, if RoboCop came out broken, buggy, and I bought it day one, and it was a terrible experience, one, I will never buy anything from that company again moving forward because they gave me a crappy game at launch, okay? But because the game was beautifully done, right? It makes me feel like it's from the 80s. It makes me feel like they did tender loving care to the characters inside RoboCop game. The next game that they come out with, I'm like, I might buy it from you day one. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. If you come out with a game, and look at Cyberpunk, right? I didn't buy Cyberpunk. I was gifted by one of my mods, Cyberpunk, for free. He gave it to me for free, okay? And I feel bad that I haven't played it yet because he spent his hard-earned money paying for that game and gave it to me as a gift, and I refused to play it because at day one, it was a crappy game on day one. Jesse Max says, 30, why didn't they put their old Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer maps into Modern Warfare 2 instead of putting Modern Warfare 2 old multiplayer maps into Modern Warfare 3, $70 for DLC? I just don't know why they didn't just do what like Destiny does and just add the next things in, or charge like $15 for DLC or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't get it. 30, you think Star Wars Jedi Survivor gets nomination? I don't think so. I think it would, Water, if it wasn't up against all these other games that came out this year. Let's go on to Chapter 8. I don't think it has to be money so much as time. I think you said many gamers, particularly PC gamers, aren't all hurting for cash. But why? But Skylines 2 now, when can I can't play it? You can't play it on PC, Chapter 8? Is it that bad? It's like, I know we did a story talking about like the port was broke, or someone posted a story. I didn't go over the story. Like the actual video game on PC is broke. Is that what you're saying right now? I heard Modern Warfare 2 actually is supposed to be DLC. Funny, because I thought the original Modern Warfare 3 was just DLC. Yeah, it was supposed to be DLC, but they'll deny it. They'll deny it. Chapter 8 says, but do run, I also have bad reviews due to the game design or whatever, like Starfield. I don't care because it's subjective, and I need to see for myself. What's going on, Sarge? For the love of all, Holy, stop giving them money day one. It's your fault at this point. Right, video games are not like movies, okay? Movies have to make the majority, and we'll talk about a movie later. We're going to be talking about the Marvels, okay? Video games are not like movies. Movies have to make their money in theaters week 1, week 2, week 3, because there's a limited time in theaters, and then it comes out to the video, to the DVDs and streaming services. Video games don't need to make all their money day one. You don't have to buy a video game day one. You could wait a day. You could wait a week. You could wait a month. That game is, once it's out, it's out. Okay? For instance, look at Among Us. Among Us was out there for 2 years. Did okay in sales. Okay? Not until 2 years later did it get blown up because of a streamer. And then everyone bought the game, right? Did that company go under? No. They were working on Among Us 2. But they didn't have to sell all their games day one because, right? But it changed their trajectory. They were just like coasting by. They made enough copies to make Among Us 2. They were working on Among Us 2. And then they made so much money and so popularity of Among Us 1 that they stopped working on Among Us 2 to make DLCs and whatnot for Among Us 1, right? You don't need to give your money day one. Water says, I would love if they did a Terminator 2 Judgment Day and you're Arnold. That would be badass. Oh, that would be good. Almost the exact same type of game. Just put the love, intended care into that Terminator character. That would be pretty badass, Water. You should play it. Really good, good now. Best game. What, for Cyberpunk? It doesn't matter, Travis. I don't have time. I'm moving on. I don't have time. Maybe if there's a lull in video games, and I got nothing new to play of actual games that have taken their time to actually make a game and sell a game on day one, maybe I'll go back and play Cyberpunk. What's going on, El? Good morning. Yeah, I'm running on a 4090, and Zubair told me he's running the same rig as me, and he was getting like 15 to 30 frames. Oh, my God. So it was like a bad port. Well, they delayed it on console for like, first it was like 3 months. Now it's 6 months, I think, or maybe 9 months. I don't think it's coming out until late next year now, City Skylines 2 on console. And that was supposed to be a day one Game Pass game. L says, let's go, Starfield, Game of the Year, baby. What's going on, Robert Jones? I know you talked earlier. Didn't say hi to you. I've been buying the last few CODs for Warzone integration. Now that I stopped playing Warzone, I don't feel compelled to buy COD. I'm finally off the sauce. Congratulations. Congratulations. I know it's a hard road, Jones, but welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. It was a hard, long fought battle, but you made it. You're in with me now. Ty2 says, I believe the devs of Robo already created 2 Terminator games. Now those games focus on human rebels characters. They made one before this one. They made the Terminator, but I don't think it was the same first-person shooter style. People brought it up to me a couple months ago when we looked at RoboCop. They said they made a Terminator game. Why isn't my headset working? If I had the thing, one of us. Eclipse says, and I heard that they just put Among Us 2 stuff on Among Us. And that's just gangster. I mean, they could have made extra money. And they were like, no. You have it for free. Yeah, because they're making so much money now. Right? Small developing team, right? But my point of Eclipse was that their games was successful 2 years after they released it. They didn't go, oh, well, got to close shop, guys. Day one, we worked 2 years to make this game. We launched Among Us, and it didn't make money first day. All right, close shop. We're done here. They're like, no, we made enough money. Let's make Among Us 2. And then all of a sudden they hit the jackpot. They won the lottery basically for studio. Come on, Kuda Papa. Gamer industry in a couple of years, turn off the money, let them sweat, and finish the effing game. Is the Terminator game? What is the name of that Terminator game? What is the name of that Terminator game? I want to look it up. What's going on, Barry? I played the COD for the first time at my my mate's house last night. It's bloody amazing. Haven't played the POV shooter since GoldenEye. Don't get the hate. I don't play Call of Duty. I dislike Call of Duty games, Barry, myself, because it's, to me, it's the same recipe over and over, and they changed the window dressing. Robert Jones says, well, you haven't played COD. That's why it's amazing. Very true. Very true, Jones. You have nothing to compare it to. So if you're fresh-eyed, if you're that fresh tissue in that box and you start playing the game, you're like, this is amazing. Chapter 8 says, honestly, I think it's to turn off the money. We wouldn't fix the industry. We convince all the parent companies gaming is dead, and they would close all the studios down and publishing companies. Well, I think at that point, though, Chapter 8, you are correct. A lot of the studios would close, but then the good studios would come back, and they would rise up, and they would make a game and sell a game, right? Thank you, Tiny. Let me look that up real fast. This is 2 years ago. Came out 2 years ago. So you're not the Terminator though, right? I guess I should go back because they started the game. Thanks, Rose. Oh, look at this. Like a Fallout with the code locking system here. Let me see. Let me go forward a little bit. Yeah, it's very, very like Fallout-ish, right? I might pick this up just to play it. It seems pretty decent. Jason says this was a solid game. So what game, Travis says, so what game, if any, do you think should be Game of the Year contender but will get snubbed? I mean, it might be the Hogwarts Legacy. I think Hogwarts Legacy should get nominated 100%, and it probably will get snubbed. This really feels like just like Fallout. Are they supposed to be dropping DLC for Hogwarts? That's my assumption. I don't think there's any proof of that, Farmer. I made a video way back when saying that they will not release any DLC or talk about DLC until all the consoles are out. And this week they released a Switch version of Hogwarts Legacy. And once that's out, I think shortly after that, maybe at the Video Game Awards show, maybe early next year, we hear some sort of DLC. That's my opinion, right? What's the Rambo game called that you guys want to see? Chapter 8 says, I've heard the exact opposite from people who follow Hogwarts Legacy, reporting that it's based on what insiders have said. We shouldn't expect any DLC or major updates. The developers themselves, Chapter 8, earlier in the year, literally said, people were asking when the first systems came out, they said, is there any DLC? They said, we're not talking about any DLC. This is what they said. They didn't say no. They said, we're not talking about any DLC until all the other things are out. It's just called Rambo, the video game? Okay. And it's a rail shooter? Rambo, the video game. Are you literally just playing the movie? Is that what this is? Come on, you couldn't do a better job with Stallone? Oh, is it a rail, huh? It is a rail video game. You don't actually get to move? Oh, it even looks like it looks like one of those like time cop games that you would play in the arcade. That's weird how the gun moves. This looks like, yeah, this looks like time cops. That one doesn't look as good. This one doesn't look as good. The Terminator one looked pretty decent. That's Stallone's cousin. Graphics are dated. I mean, not all graphics are great graphics. I don't think graphics... Personally, I don't think graphics kill a game. That gunplay that I just saw, in my head, is worse than what the graphics look like. Yeah, if you look at the progression, right? If you look at the progression of that game, then the Terminator game, and now RoboCop, I've always said in video game development, if you make a game, you set a bar, and then the next game you come out with raises the bar, then that's progression. That's good, right? But if you keep hitting the bar and you don't go anywhere else because you have no competition and you don't want to make anything better, you get games like Call of Duty. You get games like Madden. I think we're in the best time of gaming right now for this particular year because of what happened in the past. And what I mean by that is because of what happened with COVID and the 2 years, basically, that delayed games and whatnot. All the games that were working, I said this last week or 2 weeks ago. All the games that were in, let's say, they were in 2 years in development, and then all of a sudden, COVID hit and it delayed their game. And they pushed it back to like 2022, 2023. Then if you were in mid-development, where maybe you were like 1 year in, and then you were making the bulk of the game, and then there's also the games that were in the tail end of development, and they got delayed, and they kind of just pushed them back. Now they're all coming out this year. They all came out this year. There's so many games that came out in 2023. We might get some more spillover in 2024 up until like summertime, and then that's it. You're going to get the big games. Let's say Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out at the end of next year. You are going to have 1 or 2, 3 games that come out in the year are going to be awesome. But you're not going to have another year like this, maybe ever, if not for a really long time. Because even when games were like really good back in the day, like 2007, 2012, I'm trying to think of another year that was good. 2011, 2012 was a really good year in gaming. I think 2018 was another good year in gaming. You're going to have like every 5 years really good games come out, but you're not going to get games like, we're not going to get as many games as we got this year, I don't think, ever again. Big Mo says gameplay is king, graphics is last on the list. I would say yeah. For me, it's gameplay, story, right? Actually, reverse that. For me, it's because I like playing story-based games. It's story, gameplay, right? If your story's good and your gameplay's okay, I can still play it. If your story's crap and your gameplay is awesome, maybe I could play it. But if your story's great, your gameplay's okay, and the graphics are crap, I would still love your game. I'll still play your game. I agree with that, Travis. Music. Yeah, music and then graphics. Graphics to me are not a big thing. I can already see the articles, 2024, asking where the games are. Print it. Print it, Tiny. You're not wrong. That will happen. Time for another pandemic. The best time for gaming was 1990s. The graphical jumps were crazy. Super NES, PlayStation N64, Dreamcast. It was surreal. Getting into the excitement from the latest games magazines. Well, Barry, you're bringing up a good point. Graphics are so good now. Where can they go? Right? Like, look at Star Wars Battlefront 2 with the photorealism. That was 2017. And here we are 8 years later. And games still don't look as good as that, some of them. Or most of them. Once they all become like super realism, photorealism, where do you go from there? I missed the Total Biscuit Game Awards. I miss Total Biscuit, man. I miss Total Biscuit. Graphics are on the list, but not super high. Yeah, I could play any game. I don't care. This is why a lot of the games started going back to that old vintage, pixelated games, the side scrolls, the independent developers and stuff. They're really great. I don't think you need great graphics to make a good game, man. Eclipse says new Earth Defense Force comes out next year, so I'm fine. That's all I need next year. All I need is Transformers and Outlaws. And I think Outlaws might have got delayed. And hopefully Transformers doesn't get delayed. And next year I get one of those games. If it's Transformers or Outlaws. We might get Grand Theft Auto 6. And that'll just be like a cherry on top. All right. Let me go to the next story. Let me go to the next story. If you guys like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button down below. We are a small channel. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I appreciate it. And I will put it out. I will put it out there because if you're not a fan of my channel or my videos, don't hit subscribe. Don't hit subscribe. Because if you subscribe and then don't come back and watch my stuff, you're doing yourself no justice or myself. Don't do me a favor to hit the subscribe button if you're not going to come back and watch. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really care about subscriber numbers. I care about the people that are actually watching my videos live when we do these things, and also the people that come and watch the videos. So if there's 10 people that watch my videos and we have 10 likes, that's awesome, right? That's a perfect ratio of 10 to 10, right? So if you're not interested in my stuff, don't watch my stuff. It's that simple, right? You can hit the dislike button and stuff, but don't hit the subscribe button, right? Never hear anybody else say that on YouTube, huh? Don't hit my subscribe button. This is not reverse psychology, okay? I'm being dead serious. Only hit the subscribe button if you actually like the stuff. I don't know what kind of like masochist you are. Like you're like, I hate watching this guy, but watch him every day. You're not the boss of me, 30. The only YouTube streamer that tells people to go away. No, I didn't say go away. I just said don't hit the subscribe button. If you want to come by and watch a one and done type of video, cool. Just don't hit the subscribe button. Hate watching's a thing. Yeah, no, you can hate watch, Travis. That's not what I'm saying. People can come and watch, but just don't hit the subscribe button. Because metrically, the way YouTube works is it pushes it out to subscribers, right? And if you're a subscriber and you watch the stuff, cool. But if you're subscribed to a channel and you don't watch their stuff, it's better to not subscribe to that channel. Unless you really hate that person, then you want to hit the subscribe button, because when they put a video out, then you don't watch it, then it goes against them because they're like, well, your subscribers don't care. Next year is Grand Blue, Final Fantasy, Wuhong, Star Wars, Hellblade 2, Avowed, Stalker 2, and Tekken 8, and more. But that's what I'm saying, Soy. A lot of the games that we're working in, we're not going to get the spillover to 2024. Okay? So next year, like the early part of next year, you're going to have a lot of games. And then we're going to start to tail off. The video game industry is like a big, giant boat. Okay? It's a boat. So if they make course corrections, right? So in 2022, not many games came out, right? Not many games came out. 2021, not many games came out. All those games that got delayed from 2021 and 2022 came into 2023 and now going into 2024, right? The 2 years, that the things that happened when the pandemic happened didn't happen instantaneously. They tailed off and happened in the gap in between. Now we're coming out of that. So now all the games are coming out this year and early next year, and then it's going to start to tail off. That's right, Reese. If you really don't like, see, you got to think. If you really don't like somebody, then you subscribe to them and then don't ever watch their stuff. Right? If you hate someone, don't subscribe and then dislike their stuff because you're engaging. What you want to do is subscribe to somebody and then don't watch their stuff. The more you know. The more you know. Here are.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Did that work? Did you guys hear that? Did the G.I. Joe thing play? I don't know if it came across the... Oh, it was soft. You guys didn't hear it. Hold on a second.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the
It
battle.
did? Okay. It might have been real soft, so... All right, let's start this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a Forbes article talking about GTA 6 publisher says that video games should theoretically be priced at dollars per hour. Before I get over to this video, if you like it, be sure you hit that like button down below. All right, so the article comes from Paul Tassi from Forbes. He says, while Take-Two is riding high on the announcement that GTA 6 trailer is coming, the CEO has some interesting ideas on how much video games would cost. Executives believe that games are underpriced, given that their cost length of some combinations of the two. This is, of course, Strauss Zelnick, who was paid $42.1 million in the fiscal year of 2023, who told investors that what we view as his pricing philosophy for games. But since it can't actually be acceptable, it thinks that GTA is one of the best values on market, and here's what he said. He says, quote, in terms of our pricing for any entertainment property, basically the algorithm, or algorithm meaning people, is the valued expected entertainment usage, which is to say that the per hour value times the number of expected hours plus the terminal value, what's perceived by the consumer as the ownership, as the title owned rather than rented or subscribed to. So I've said this in the past, right? I said video games, hands down, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, is the best piece of entertainment you'll ever get, right? It's better than a book, better than a TV show, better than a movie, right? You pay $10 to go to a 2-hour film, okay? You pay $20 or whatever it is for a book. You finish it in one day. With video games, right, at the bare minimum, you're getting like 8 hours, okay? If not, if it's a wide open game like an Assassin's Creed or a Starfield, you're getting hundreds, if not thousands of hours, especially with these live service games. So when you look at certain games, you're like, well, is $70 worth it? In the grand scheme of things, when you look at a game, even though I tell you not to buy day one because games have to prove themselves that they're a good game before you buy it, okay? Games themselves, they could go up, right? Because let's just say it's a 100-hour game and you paid $70, okay? By the time you put 100 hours into that game, you're getting your money's worth. Well over your money's worth, right? I played Diablo. I got my money's worth. I got RoboCop already. I already got my money's worth, right? Well, RoboCop, I'm closing in on my money's worth, right? It all depends on what type of game it is. If it's a live service game, I say it's $1 an hour. That's my metric. That's what I've been saying for years, right? But if it's like a piece of entertainment that's like a Marvel's Avengers game, it's a live service game, but it's about a 20, 25-hour game with all the DLCs and whatnot, I played that for 1,000 hours, okay? I got my money's worth, okay? So I see what he's saying, but can you imagine paying $1 an hour? It's like an arcade. Remember back in the arcade days? They got smart because people got better at the arcade game, so they started putting timers in there. So regardless if you were good or not, the timer would tick down, and you have to put another quarter in. Okay, so reviewing the games for a living, this is Paul Tassi saying, reviewing the games for a living, I have actually heard this from fans a lot of times. That's because the game is longer. It's inherent most valuable players. You're getting more and more for your money in terms of hours spent in the game. But this is also, of course, discounting the length of the game can often be detriment to someone that may, like, say, 12 hours of Alan Wake or a lot more of 150 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even at the same price. Zelnick continues by saying, by the standard of our price are still very, very low because we offer many hours of engagement. The value of engagement is very high. So we think the industry as a whole offers terrific price and value opportunity for consumers. Now, Paul continues by saying, Zelnick is admitting that even though maybe we should be a case because the nature of the market is simply cannot be pricing model like that and moved from $7 recently into sort of maximum they can also hope for. He says, what's being unsaid here is that a $7, formerly $60 cap is why so many games have turned too many different forms of post-launch monetization. And Lord knows that it's certainly true that Grand Theft Auto, where GTA Online has printed billions for Take-Two the last decade, is also the microtransactions, and obviously GTA 6 is going to have a similar mode, if not identical one. He says, I don't even think that the dollar per hour idea is true, not across any industry. Shorter movies do not cost more than longer movies. Netflix may have 20 times the total content library of rival services, but at most it costs twice as much. This really is unacceptable of any industry, much less than video games, at least for box copies. And Zelnick is absolutely leaving out the countless games, including his own, that squeeze money out of their consumers year-round with microtransactions. So, look, here's my thoughts. The market is going to bear what the market bears, okay? If someone wants to pay $22 for a microtransaction skin, that's what the market bears. If someone wants to pay $120 for a video game that's broke, buggy, unfinished, undeveloped, and then to get fixed over the next 2 years, that's what the market bears. So when the developers look at their pricing points and say, well, $70 is a steal, we're still giving you the best value of your game, and it's a game, let's say, like an Assassin's Creed where you can put hundreds of hours in, they're not wrong. They're giving you hundreds of hours. If you decide to play through the story and stop, or you do all the side quests and then stop, whatever it is, that's worth it. But when you play a game, what's a game that came out? Like Stray. Stray's not 100 hours of game, right? It's like 8 to 10 hour game, maybe 12. RoboCop, you might get 15 hours out of that game, right? So to play that game over and over, you might play it a second time. Maybe you put 30 hours in the first time. You have to play another 30 hours to get to that dollar hour type of thing. But that's exactly right. Not all games are created equal. But the industry does what the market bears. And the market bears that they can charge $22 for a skin. They can charge $70 for a video game. They can charge $150 if you get early access for 3 days before someone pays $70 for it. This is what it bears. So if the customers don't like the method that's happening, then the customers are in charge. They are not in charge. The industry is not in charge. The industry is doing what we're telling them to do. And if you spend $22 on a microtransaction skin, or $40 in a microtransaction skin, or you're paying for the DLC or not paying for the DLC, or paying for the game or not paying for the game, they will adjust to what the market bears. Hence why when games don't sell, they go on sale real fast, okay? And they're still making a profit off of those games. These are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below, where do you think video games should be priced at? Are you okay if it was $1 per hour? Are you okay if they changed it where it was like an arcade machine back in the day where you just keep putting those coins in because I'm enjoying playing, so I'm going to keep putting the quarter in? Or do you think this is absurd? I hope it never goes in this direction. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Kuda Papa says, why do you think I'm subscribed to JTech and Linus Tech TV? The channels have become trash, so I sub and don't watch. I'll buy that for $1. What's going on, dude? The dude. There's no other dude. It's the dude. We have the dude here. 42 million. What did you do? So it's about $1,000. That's right. Can you imagine if I played Marvel's Avengers, Water? I played over 1,000 hours. I would not pay $1,000 for that game. You're out of your goddamn mind if you think I'm paying $1,000. I played this little. My wife introduced me to this little game here. Let me show you. It's called. I won't tell you what the name of it is. Okay. I played it this weekend. I got to delete it because I'm tired of it. Okay. All you do is just, it's a numbers game, right? You're taking the numbers and you're matching them and doing the stuff, right? There's ads that play on that, right? I don't want to buy the game for, it's like $5, right? Because I know that I'm not going to play it longer than what I played it for, okay? I played it well over 5 hours this weekend, okay? Because me and my son and my wife were all playing it, and we were like competing against each other, okay? It's $5, but there's ads if you don't pay the $5, right? Well, I don't want to watch ads, and I also don't want to give them the $5. So all I did was shut off my Wi-Fi. You get no ad pop up, and you can just keep playing the game regardless, right? And then you turn your phone back on, and then you can, then you get the ads and whatnot. But I got my money's worth out of that because I didn't buy anything. I could have played it for 10 minutes or 10 hours, and I'm fine. But they try to force you. Every time you do a move, ad. Buy this game. Buy this game. Buy this game. Right? They're waiting for that one person to pay for $5 for that game, and they know you're not going to play it after the weekend. Sarge says they made a live service games. I didn't ask for live service game. They decided that. GTA 6, I think, Water says, I think GTA 6 release date will be December 7th at the Game Awards with pre-orders going live. No way. They're not doing pre-orders. 50 years to work on that game? Dave Rose says, I have to disagree with the article. Length does not dedicate how much I love to enjoy a game. Therefore, I don't think the price should reflect how many hours the game lasts. Oh, for sure. I said for live service games, if you get, I put it in my perspective. If you pay $60, now $70, and you pay that game for $70, obviously you make your money's worth. Even if you played half that time, right? Half that time. Because even if you paid $70 and you played that game for 30 hours, even if you paid, right, now it's $30 for the 30 hour. So 15 hours is $30, 15 other hours was $30 or whatever it was, right? You still got your money's worth out of that game. I always do the theoretically dollar an hour type of thing. Wait, so now you're supposed to do dollar cost average on video games? Yeah, they didn't before, right? We literally been saying this for years. If gaming adopts the hour price point, smash my Xbox driving on YouTube. Be like, ah! You're gonna do an Office Space. You're gonna start smashing it. GTA publishers are looking like getting single consumers to spend hundreds of thousands of GTA 6 because guess what? $1 an hour to play GTA 6, someone would do it. But if you think about it, Water, the people that are playing like a World of Warcraft online now, or any kind of MMO, or GTA Online, if you buy a card, right? You have your initial $60 back then when it cost $60 to get Grand Theft Auto. Right? Then you buy a shark card that was $20. Now you're up $80, right? And then you buy another shark card a couple months later. Now you're at $100, right? So like it constantly goes up. So over the years, right? Pound for pound, dollar for dollar, hour for hour, someone might have spent $5,000 on Grand Theft Auto, but if that's the game they played the entire time over the 10 years, they would have got their money's worth, right? The market bears what the market bears. If that's how monetization worked, no one would be making games like Spider-Man 2 too short to make money. Plus, it would also show how games are played. $1 per hour would be interesting. Travis says, I'll buy games at $70, but not at $1 an hour. As many enjoyment per hour varies game to game. 50 hours isn't 50 hours if you don't enjoy it. Correct. Chapter 8 says, I can't tell if he was being rhetorical. It's a good argument that they paid $60 for a 15-hour Donkey Kong game and in the 90s, and then why won't you pay $120 for the next gen 50-hour game? Right? Because even $120 for 50 hours, that would be worth it, right? It's $2 an hour. Well, a little bit more. It's like $2.50 per hour or whatever it is. I mean, think about it. Even if they raise the price, which games are, they say 70, but really they're 100, 120. Okay, they put that cost in if it's a microtransaction. The majority, of people pay the $60, $70. Other people pay. Look at Starfield. There was more people. 2 million people bought the game at $125 or $130 whatever it was, to play it 5 days early access for the people that bought it. Then there was the people that had Game Pass and they got $30 extra and got the early access. But if you are paying $120, you're already paying for 2 people, right? You're paying the extra money, and you're 2 to 1, right? One person bought it for $120. Technically, games are $60, so they paid 2 copies for somebody. They're still making the money down the road. Games are literally $100. They'll make it from you for microtransactions. They'll make it from you for early access. Silent Warrior says, $1 an hour, Spider-Man 2 would cost $20. Sold. The amount of time spent playing games shouldn't matter, but server costs should be accounted for, in my opinion. Oh, for the online games? I think single-player games, regardless if it was Spider-Man or... I'm trying to think of another really good... Hogwarts, right? Someone could just blow through Hogwarts and be done with the campaign in like 12 hours, right? And then somebody else, like myself, put 160 hours getting all the stuff and getting 100%. Same with like Jedi Survivor. I don't think video game prices, I still think the $60, $70, now it's $70, is a good price. Because again, it's the best value for your money. To get the amount of entertainment you get out of a video game compared to anything else, book, going to a sporting event, right? You pay hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, all depending on where you sit. You go to a concert, same thing, thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. Going to a play, right? You're paying hundreds of dollars to go see a play for 2 hours, 3 hours. You're paying $70 And not only can I pay $70, right? But my son gets to play the same game. And then if my wife wanted to play the same game. So that's 3 people to play the same game for one price. I feel bad for people who paid $120 for things like Battlefield. Like, not even. No, I feel truly bad. They did it to themselves. The market will bear what the market bears. If people want to pay $120, they're going to pay $120. They made $0 off me. So someone that paid $120 2 years ago, and I didn't spend a dime, basically they paid for me. Chapter 8 says you should probably be more given the time and cost to make them nowadays in inflation varies of 90s and early 2000s. Right, because a game back then took a year or 2 to make. Now it takes 3 to 5 to 8, all depending on what it is. I paid $100 for Diablo 4 after completing the campaign, stopped playing. You could argue I got my money's worth. I really don't like the feel. I really don't feel like I did. I got 160 hours, I think, in it, Farmer. And I got the discount because I got the gift card. I think I paid $10. It was $90. I think I paid $80. And I got the, with the early access or whatever. So $80, 160 hours. I think I got my money's worth. Would $15 a month of Warzone be acceptable? ESO has a monthly sub fee. Curious to see if it helps get rid of cheaters. $15 a month. ESO doesn't have a subscription anymore. I mean, you could buy the subscription to get extra storage, but if you have Game Pass, it's included in the Game Pass, right? So you're paying $10 at the low tier, $11 for the low tier per month, but you're getting all those other games if you wanted to play. I don't know if Warzone could do that. I don't know if a first-person shooter game could do that, because the amount of content that's in like a MMO compared to the amount of content that's in a Battle Royale like Fortnite or Warzone, it's not the same. The dude says, I would go for $1 an hour if all DLC, season passes, microtransactions, and servers were covered by that $1. Well, you would... The way the dollar thing would work, I think, dude, would be like, if you paid for 2 hours, right, you would pay $2. But someone that paid 1,000 hours would be paying $1,000, right? So if you like the game, the people that like the game would continue playing the game, right? Again, think of the arcades back in the day, before they put the timers in the games, right? If you were good at the game, you could put a quarter in, and you can just continue playing. But then they put the timers in, and you're like, oh, you want to continue playing? You're like, yeah. And you put another quarter in, right? And then you go another 5 minutes, timer tick down, then you put another quarter in. And you just keep playing until you beat the game. And that game might have been done in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So they got you, right? Every 10 minutes, you put a quarter in. So it costs you $1.50 to play that game, and it takes 2 hours. So $3 is what you paid. Oh, you died 3 times. You want to continue? If you don't continue, you're going to go back to the start. I paid for Battlefield 2042. Anyone that bought a $120 Battlefield 2042 that previously older titles should be ashamed of themselves. Shame. Shame. We do the Game of Thrones. People might not like to hear that, but if you paid full price for that or more, you were the problem for that game. You were the reason that game came out the way it did. Because the market bared it. The market was like, hey, we're charging $120 for this. And people were like, I love Battlefield. I'm going to pay for it. Right? And you might have loved it at that moment, but you also have to admit that you were also the problem if you bought a $120 game that was broke, buggy, unfinished, and it took 2 years to fix. Eclipse says, I have 300 hours in Diablo. Definitely got my money's worth. Elle says, I paid $400 for the Armored Core Collector's Edition. Worth every penny. It all depends on who the person is, right? Don't you get all the DLC with the subs as well? No, for ESO, you have to pay separate for the subs. No, I'm sorry. If you just pay for Game Pass, Silent Warrior, you don't get the DLC. if you pay the $15 for the extra backpack and stuff like that, yes, that's included up until the point where you stop paying. So let's say a DLC came out for ESO, you pay the monthly fee, that came out, then you stopped your payment after that, then you wouldn't be able to get the next DLCs and whatnot. You would have access to all the ones that you had before you stopped paying. I'm still playing D4, 487 hours. Water, do you have that much time in that? I didn't think you put that much time in it. Travis says, if anyone's playing D4, is still clinically insane. But the arcades, they have to pay for the machines and power utilities. Sure, but in the arcade, people were paying. You're still going to get the people. They had to shorten the time. They had to put a timer on those games because they had to make more money. They were making the money. They were making the money for those games. Because let's say I paid $5,000 for that machine, Quintar, right? Let's say I paid $5,000 for that machine. Do I want to make all my money on day one? That's not how it worked back then. They paid $5,000 for that machine, and over time, it was an investment. So every day they could have made $100, $200 off that machine, right? Before they put the timers in those machines, and they made money. So that machine would have been paid off in like a year or two. Then they're like, wait a minute. If we put timers on here, I could pay the machine off in a year instead of 3 years. Trust me, I worked in an arcade for almost a decade. They made their money. Imagine playing DLC for the game you don't own. Imagine paying for DLC for a game you don't own. Well, you can do that on Game Pass. Game Pass, you can literally just buy the DLCs. As long as you keep paying for Game Pass, you don't need to own the game. And then at the end, if you want to buy the game, then you get it for a discount. Travis says, it won't be a Game of the Year contender. That's right. D4. Hell, it's more pissed about than that Starfield. Yeah, I don't know if D4 would get a nomination. If it does, that means it pulls something else out. It pushes something else out. Yeah, but population doesn't mean it's a good game, Eclipse. You can like it, but what the game is, just because it's popular, Call of Duty, Madden, doesn't mean it's Game of the Year. I put 300 plus hours in Diablo. Feels like I got robbed still. Never finished Season 1. Got to about 100. Baldur's Gate. I'm on my second playthrough, over 800 hours. And I wish I could give Larian more money. Yeah, but they don't want your money. They wanted to give you a game. And that's a big conversation right there, Big T, right? That's a whole conversation itself. Make a game, sell a game. That's where I come from. That's what I would love to see most companies do. Make a game, sell a game. They don't need to charge you microtransactions and stuff, right? If you want to give Larian more money, then go buy one of their other games, or buy another copy of Baldur's Gate 3 and gift it to somebody. Imagine not owning anything and just licensing software from a company. I mean, that's what they want. That's what Microsoft wants. Soup says, I recently went back to D4, and it was kind of great, gritty and get back into. So back in WoW and still plays smooth, and Dragonflight is awesome. All right, we got one more story to talk about, and I got to finish it before noon, because the Video Game Awards show nominations are coming out at noon. So we'll cover that live. People said all this of Diablo 3. I don't see why people still buy those games if they're so bad. Maybe they didn't make a deal with the devil. It doesn't look right now. Diablo 4 has sold so many copies that if everybody stopped playing, it doesn't matter, because they would just stop supporting D4 and they would start working on D5. Do you see the difference? Right? D4 made all its money and more. And if people stop playing D4, they would just work on the game and make D5. You would still be able to play D4. You would still be able to play and go back and do all the stuff that they did, but you can't because they don't have leaderboards in there yet, right? They don't have leaderboards in the game yet that you paid for. Right? You have to wait for them to insert that. But if you stop supporting, if people stop giving microtransactions or stop buying Game Pass, or I'm not Game Pass, Battle Passes and Season Passes, that game still exists. That game would still be there. But they would go on and make Diablo 5. But they don't want to make Diablo 5. They want to try to squeeze out as much possible out of D4. You don't have to imagine if you own a console, you don't own any of your games. Well, you own them, but you don't own them, right? Like, you physically have them, but if they stop supporting them or shut down the servers, then you can't play it anymore. Now, if a game has it, like for instance, Devastation, Transformers Devastation. I owned it, but now because of the new system, I couldn't own it because I didn't own it digitally, right? And it wasn't backwards compatible, right? I had to have the digital copy. But if I don't have the digital copy, then I had to go buy the disc to put it in my system to then actually play it. But if you own it, then you could play it only if it was backwards compatible if they allow you to. Stopping D4 right now wouldn't make a damn difference. Paid in full. Yeah, they would continue. All right, the last story that we have today, if you guys like what we're doing here, we have conversations back and forth. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you like our content. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. The next story. You guys know I worked in the film industry for a really long time. I love talking about movies and films. I have not seen the Marvels, and I will not see the Marvels, just like I haven't seen any other Marvel film in theaters. The last one I watched in theaters, I believe, was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, is the last one I watched in theaters for MCU. Everything else after that, I watched over on Disney+. So let's get into this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the variety of box office The Marvels misfires with $47 million, lowest MCU opening weekend of all time. If you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button, and let's get to it. So, Disney, Marvel Cinematic Universe, is no longer the bulletproof box office franchise. That's much as clear after The Marvels misfired with a $47 million in the opening weekend and to land the worst debut in MCU history. Entailed tracking at closer to $75 million to $80 million, but those projections shrank dramatically in recent weeks to $60 million and $65 million, with the bad buzz and actors like Brie Larson unable to promote the film due to SAG strike. Yeah, that's the reason it didn't do well, which has finally ended on Friday. Now, the Marvels didn't even match those disappointing estimates. I said it would make $33 million this weekend domestically. It made a little bit more than that, so I was just off, which is not bad, not that bad. It was about $15 million off, but it did make $47 million. So only two other films in the sprawling series, The Marvels, is the 33rd installment in 15 years that have opened to a lower than $60 million in 2008's The Incredible Hulk, with $55.4 million, and also the 2015 Ant-Man with $57.2 million, not adjusted for inflation. Although MCU has been showing rare signs of wear and tear, it's in its expandex, the franchise. Other two big screen adventures opened this year. February's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made $106 million, and May's Guardian of the Galaxy made $118 million. Still managed to hit triple digits in their respective debuts. Now, the third Ant-Man wasn't labeled a bust until the end of the box office run, which it didn't make money. It actually lost money for Marvel and Disney. The Marvels is also a rare MCU movie to also flop out of the gate. So the Marvels also fell short expectations in international box office, with a $63.3 million from 51 territories for the worldwide start at $110 million. Disney had hoped that generate at least $140 million globally over the weekend, and even if it wouldn't have been a great tentpole, costing roughly $220 million to produce, and $100 million to promote the film audience across the globe. So it cost them $320 million for this film. This movie needs to grow $600 million, which it's not going to make. Now, the Marvel's turnout, the lackluster thereof, is surprising because the passionate MCU fan base has turned even less embracive installment into the box office winners. Audience flat out rejected the Marvels, so it's likely struggled to rebound as the holiday season heats up with Hunger Games prequel and the Ballad of the Songbirds of the Snakes. Now, Disney animated Wish and the other family films also is coming weeks. This is unprecedented Marvel box office collapse, says David A. Gross, who runs a movie consulting firm, Franchise Entertainment Research, and the strike hurts the film and marketing, but it's not what's driven these numbers. He says, quote, the Marvel's director, Nina DaCosta, and also co-starring Larson, and Paris and Villani is also the sequel of 2019's billion-dollar blockbuster, Captain Marvel. The following up films didn't come up anywhere close to the heroic $153 million debut of the predecessor. However, Captain Marvel was eventually released between two of the biggest films ever created in 2018, the Avengers Infinity War and 2019's Avengers Endgame, which made an appointment viewing of comic book fans. Now, at the time, Marvel could also do no wrong at the box office, delivering billion-dollar behemoths with casual snap of Thanos' fingers. It wasn't going to be tough. But the next impossible to top the cultural force of Endgame. But the attendance for some films in the wake has also been startling of Earthbound. This comes as Disney introduces countless new characters and spin-offs, sequels, TV series, and also has graced big and small screens for casual viewers of Marvel, devotes a lot alike, and has also a lot to keep up with. We were talking about this weeks ago. There's so much homework that you have to do for like the Star Wars shows to get to like the films, and there's also so much homework that you have to do for Marvels. Like just to watch this Marvel one, you would have to watch Captain Marvel 1, right? Which then kind of leads you into what like Endgame. Then you have to kind of watch WandaVision, and you also have to kind of watch Loki, and then you also have to kind of watch Miss Marvel. Now, if you don't watch any of those things and you just watch this movie as itself, you might look at it and go, "Oh yeah, it's entertaining." But you would have no idea who any of the characters are. You wouldn't know who Captain Marvel is. You wouldn't know who Monica Rambeau is. You wouldn't know who Miss Marvel is. You have no idea about anybody in this film, or the only person you would know is Samuel L. Jackson's character. That's it. Nick Cage, okay? Or Nick Fury, Nick Cage. I'm okay, right? So since the pandemic, superhero films have endured simultaneously streaming unimaginative and bad movies saturated on TV gross ads. He goes, does this mean that superhero fatigue has plagued society once and for all? Not necessarily, but it also turns out that the Marvels could force a reckoning at Disney, and now it's clear that the audience aren't willing to see the old superhero movie on the big screen. I don't think it has anything to do with the superhero movie on the big screen. I think it has a lot to do, and we don't really talk about, politics and stuff on here or what's going on in the world because we try to get away from that, but you can't get away from it from here because Disney literally bought Marvel and Star Wars to bring in the other audience. What is Disney known for? Disney's known for its princesses and like animated cartoons and mostly pushing towards young children and also girls, right? Why do they push towards girls? Well, girls have moms and moms love spending money on stuff, and women are the predominantly person that spends money. But in the Star Wars and Marvel realm, the person that spends the most money are men. Little boys that grew up, that loved comic books and loved Star Wars, now are adults that have jobs and they love to spend money on these things, and they introduce them to their children because they love those things as well. So what did Disney do when they bought Lucas and when they bought Marvel? Well, they converted those things. They suckered you in. They said, we're going to make the comic book films for you, for the men that didn't actually connect with Disney, because Disney cartoons and stuff were for children and for girls, with all the princesses and all the stuff, right? And then somewhere down the line, Disney decided to change the recipe. They're like, well, how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to change the recipe by taking the Marvel brand, and we're going to take it where girls didn't pay for stuff, and now they are. They're trying to force it down the throat of people where they already had all this other stuff, okay? Where they had all the princesses and all this other things, and they said, we're going to make it the force is female. We're going to make that the superheroes is all women. And another reason they bomb at the box office is not because people are sexist, racist, or anything like that. It's because in the marketing material, regardless of what they push, back in the day, if there was a woman in the film, they didn't say, here's a white woman or a black woman leading the film. They just put the movie out. That's it. And then you look, man, that's a badass movie. That movie was entertaining, and people went to go buy it, and word of mouth came out. But now they make sure 100% of the time that, well, this is the most diverse cast ever. This is the most female diverse cast with a diverse director and all this other stuff, and nobody cares about that. Because at the end of the day, just like I said for video games, nobody looks at reviews and cares about that stuff. They just want a good game. They just want a good story. They just want a good game. They just want to play. They just want to escape from reality. And Disney decided to take reality, shit on it, and take all the stuff and put it right in your face. And if you don't like what they put out, you're sexist, you're racist, you're misogynistic, you're all these things, okay? But all they had to do was take what was on the paper of comic books and put them into the actual film, and it would have been a blockbuster hit. But instead, they had to have an agenda. They had to make you feel that you're the bad guy. And now, here it is. It's come to a complete pinnacle here of where the Marvels came out, and people said, no, the Marvels is one of the best movies ever. Well, let's go look at the Marvels here, okay? Let's go look at the box office of all these box office things. Where Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a Sony picture, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Ultron, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and Captain Marvel sits at number 8. Made $426 million gross domestically, okay? It won't even make that worldwide, okay, on the second film. And worldwide, it made over $1 billion, okay? Over $1 billion. Opening weekend, it made $153 million, okay? But in the actual overall, it made $1.1 billion. They said, oh, it made $1.1 billion because it was a female-led superhero film, never done before. There was no superhero film ever by a lead. Oh wait, Wonder Woman came out. Oh, that's right, Wonder Woman came out. Oh wait, there was Aliens back in the day. It wasn't a superhero film, but Sigourney Weaver was a star in Aliens back in the late 70s. It was amazing, right? But there's never been another lead character ever that was as popular as Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. Okay, so here we are. Now we see the runoff. It was between Infinity War and Endgame, and now we have Captain Marvel 2, which got demoted in her own film because she shares the screen with two other superheroes now, and it brings in a whopping. Okay, it brings in a whopping. Let's scroll all the way down here. It's at 33. No, it's lower than that because they're putting other films in here. Here it is. Nope, got to keep going. Got to keep going. Is it this low? Oh, there it is. 63. Okay, the Marvels. Okay, the Marvels, $47 million domestically in 4,000 theaters. And then worldwide, it made $88.5 million. This is an absolute bust for the film. This is an absolute bust, and this is a wake-up call. This is a wake-up call. The people that were going to go to your film, and there was a stat out there that said that the most people that went to go watch this film, 63% were men. Okay? 63% were men. And I think it was like 27% were women. Okay? Right? So the people that came to the actual film, okay, that they were promoting to, which were women, didn't even show up to watch the women-led film that had the most diverse and everything, right? Men went to go watch it. The most people were men, okay? So to say that men are sexist, racist, misogynistic, and didn't want to go watch it, no. Men are the people that are actually involved and want to watch these comic book films, and yet they don't want men to go watch the films. Another reason that this film bombed is because Brie Larson said they don't care about 40-year-old men, okay, with I forget the other movie that she was in. Time something. Someone in chat tell me, right? But didn't want men to tell me what they want. Well, now you're in a movie that men can tell you what they like. And this is not it, right? So Disney ruined their own billion-dollar industries. Disney should write a book on how to destroy the most popular franchises in less than 10 years, because that would be a seller, because people would be interested in how a company, a trillion-dollar company, a billion-dollar company could ruin $2 billion franchises simultaneously within 10 years. Let me know if you watched the movie. Let me know what you think about the movie. Let me know what you think about in the comment section down below. What's going to happen with Marvel's moving forward with all these slotted, diverse, women-led, gender swap, right, films all going forward. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. There's a bit of a rant. I'm in the middle of my rant, and my wife walks in and starts talking to me. I'm like, nope, I'm in the middle of something here. Here you see Brie Larson. Here you see Brie Larson in a life and death struggle with the Pandaverse. Trash fire confirmed. Travis said 35 mil. We Marvel fans hate Brie and woke stuff. And the woke's pushing into games. I can't get into Loki and finish it. It's taken me some time to finish it. I haven't watched it yet. Disney calling me those things tells me I'm a good person. Chapter 8 says, okay, but Disney also owns ESPN, ABC, 20th Century, and most of the Marvel films that have come out under Disney have been record-breaking hits. They've been record-breaking hits because of the fan base they marketed to, though, Chapter 8. Phase 1, 2, and 3 were not diverse. Were not leaded with, in the marketing material, black man, black woman, white man, white woman. Like, those weren't marketed like that. It was after, right between Infinity War and Endgame, that they started. Every time Disney came out with a movie, animated, non-animated, Marvel film, Star Wars film, did they push the diversity? Did they push the sexist, racist thing? And when something didn't work, they called it sexist and racist. So far, the movies that came out, Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was the only film that barely broke their money back, made their money back. I think they made $15 million total, right? Every movie, up until Spider-Man, which was Sony, okay, made a profit. Okay? Spider-Man made the profit. Everybody else lost money. Doctor Strange, because it was a sequel and also came after Spider-Man, is what led into that, and that's why that was successful. Love and Blunder, okay, probably one of the worst films ever, okay, barely made money, but it made money, but it was a bad film, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Avoiding politics and escapism's sake, they're cramming into everything, my friend. You watch your Game of the Year decided by DEI score. But Boba Fett is Disney's princess now. They screwed up that show so bad. Disney must now buy Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, and ruin the... Oh, no. There's other companies already ruining those, dude. Chapter 8 says, to be clear, I agree with Dirty. I don't like race gender swapping either. And most of the women I don't like in superhero movies. So it was a dumb move by Disney. Knows boys too, and they also go back to them. I just think that I try to picture other things happening. The biggest example would be Black Panther, right? Black Panther is a character that's a black character. If they switch Black Panther into some other than black, black person, they put an Asian person, a white person, a Mexican person, whatever, right? People would lose their shit. It wouldn't be good for that because there's not enough representation, right? But they would have a problem if they changed Black Panther, right? And that's the issue. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. So you could take a main character and swap them, and that's okay because they're white. But you can't change a character that's non-white into someone that is white because that would be the internet would crumble. The problem is a lot of these people that push this agenda are people that don't even buy the things, right? I just went to a store this weekend. I don't know if you guys have them where you are. It's called Ollie's. Good stuff, cheap. Okay. what this business does is they buy other people's stuff that's not selling well. So like Target, Walmart, all these other places, if they're not selling their products well, even Disney themselves, they'll buy up the bulk stuff that they're not selling. Okay, and then they put it in their store, and they put it at a discounted price, and they still can't sell it. So there's just hundreds and hundreds of these things. Before Disney bought Marvel, before Disney bought Disney, okay, there would be aisles, both sides of Star Wars, of Marvel stuff, and you couldn't keep the stuff on the shelves. You had to come there and ask for, hey, do you have this? No, I'm sorry, we're out of it, right? Now you walk down the aisle, you see nothing but Star Wars and stuff, but they're on like a small section like this, and there's just tons of them, right? And they have closed boxes up on top, not touched, okay? Like, no one's buying the stuff. So to say that people are sexist and racist and they're not buying things, well, a business needs to have a majority of the population like their stuff, right? Well, if you just upset it half, a quarter, whatever, right? You chucked out the 70% to get the 5%. And it shows because no one's going to the movies, right? You might think a movie's popular now, but movie ticket prices are double the price than they were, right? We're like double the price. So now when someone goes to the movies, they're paying for like 1.5 times of people instead of just one. So it's very frustrating as a fan of this stuff. You see it in the comic books, right? You see it inside the toys. You see it inside the films and television shows. People are not interested, right? You could take the same conversation and have it with Miles Morales in Spider-Man, right? People like Miles Morales, right? People, it's not that they hate Miles Morales. They hate that what they did with Spider-Man with Miles Morales trying to take over for Peter Parker, even though it's separate and did do different things. People don't like that. That's probably the best example of a good character where they kind of separated him because he didn't replace Peter Parker. He's just there, and there's Peter Parker. There's Peter Parker, and there's Miles Morales, where these other ones are replacing. Okay, replacing. Now, you could say out of context that Miles Morales is replacing what Insomniac said, but they're not. They're just saying that going forward, that's their Spider-Man that they're going to make the next story about or whatever. Okay, but he's still there. He's not replacing in place of. Okay, it's there. And as of, there's another character for people to like. Could have named him anything, though. But they did it on purpose, right? And if you don't like it, it's because of you, right? The people that are saying, oh, well, we need more diversity, they're not buying the toys. They're not buying the Mandalorian, right? They're not buying these other toys on the shelves. They're not buying these things over here because they don't buy stuff. They just like to virtual signal and speak out loud on Twitter that I'm a fan, but they don't go to the movies to buy it. They don't watch the movie 3 times, 6 times, 10 times in theaters. They're not buying the Blu-ray, right? They're not buying the T-shirts. They're not buying the toys. They're not. Context matters. Hamilton is fantastic, and if the race of the actors is irrelevant, except for the one character with the freed slave narrative. But if it matters for some reason, didn't that movie do fantastic? Didn't that movie do fantastic? Robert Jones says, Devil's Advocate, Black Panther identity as a character is based on being a black African dude. It would make no sense to race swap him specifically. Sure, why not? You could have Bucky, who is now there. I know he comes to White Wolf, but why can't he take the helm of Black Panther? Right? He was now living inside Africa with them amongst the people. Why can't he take the place? Right? I'm sure they could come up with a story. But that's my point, Travis. Right? I don't want Bucky to become Black Panther. I don't want anyone else to become Black Panther. Hell, I didn't even want Shuri to become Black Panther. Right? I don't want Shuri to become Black Panther. I wanted Black Panther to be Black Panther. Obviously, in the MCU, Chadwick Boseman died. Okay? God rest his soul. Okay? But they should have recast it because I don't think anyone's bigger than the actual character they play on the screen. in the Black Panther new movie, in the end, kid name is T'Challa, son T'Challa. So it means that the name allows to continue existing without Chadwick Boseman. Absolutely, Jesse, right? But obviously, you're going to have to fast forward quite a bit, a few years. And because chronologically, in the movie realm, the kid's like 8 or 9, right? And then the people that he would go up with would be like Kate Bishop, all the people that we saw in the things that are becoming the next Avengers, right? Even Kamala Khan. They're only a couple years older than him. So if they fast forward him and make him bigger, they're going to have to make them older. They can't do that. It's going to be a little weird going, wait a minute, how old was that kid in that movie? And it takes place chronologically 4 years ago, and then they're not 4 years older, right? It would look weird. It would look weird. Yeah, we're going to watch the video game in the next 15 minutes. Exactly, Jones. Hey, Terrence Howard was it, right? And then they replaced him. No questions asked. People blinked. They're like, wait a minute. What happened? Nothing. It only is sexist and racist and stuff when the narrative fits what they're trying to do. Well, this movie, when a movie came out in the past and sucked, it was a bad movie. When a video game came out in the past and it was a bad game, it was just a bad game. But now, because they came out and say that this game, this movie, this TV show is diverse and it has all these characters and it fails, you're sexist, you're racist, you're misogynistic. Not because it was a bad film, bad TV show, bad video game. And the Marvels, I didn't think, when I said 33 million, I was like, I wanted to say 42 is what I wanted to say. Okay. That was my original, but I said, I'm going to go with 33. Okay. And I should have stuck with my gut and said 42 because I would have been off by 500,000. Okay. But instead, I'm off by 15. Oh, that was international. I would have been off by 5 million. Sorry, or 4.5 million. To be fair, I think it works the other way too. The Marvels movie failed because it's woke, etc., instead of just because it's a bad fucking movie. Well, I think actually, I haven't watched the film myself, Chapter 8, but I hear it's both. Right? I hear it's a bad film and it's also woke and stuff, right? Another thing that I didn't bring up in the little rant I had earlier, the director that was on it, because the movie got pushed back, she left the film to go work on another film once the post-production was happening, right? Then they had to do reshoots and whatnot, and she wasn't included, right? So then when the story's all done, they tell you that, well, she's the person that ran it, but if someone else did the edit in the bay because she was working on another film, I hate to break it to you, it's like playing an MMO. If you're a director of a movie, it's really hard to juggle 2 movies and give your 100% on both of them, right? One has to diminish so you can work on the other. Otherwise, both projects suck. And I think that's one of the reasons the movie also suffered, because the director didn't actually finish out the film. She finished out the actual filming process, but she didn't finish out the actual editing room process. And then they run articles, right? Because they can't get people to come to the theaters. Again, because 1 and 1 are the same. The people that watch Marvel films are also gamers, right? So then they interview the director, and she comes out and says the 3 of her favorite games are like Final Fantasy VII, Mario 64, and I forget the third game that she said. And the only reason for that question is people go, oh, she's a gamer? I'm a gamer too. Oh, I see myself. I'm going to go watch the movie. I like her. I like her because she likes Final Fantasy. And I think that's just really low-hanging fruit. Because honestly, I don't give a shit if she's a gamer or not. All I care about is if she makes a good film. I don't even care that she's a girl. I just want a good film, good story. Now, I haven't watched it myself. When it comes to Disney Plus, I'll watch it and I'll let you guys know. Yeah, Nia DaCosta. She said Final Fantasy VII, I think. She said Mario 64, and I forget the last one she said. All right. Is there a stream up for the Video Game Awards show? Do we know the link? I think it's oh, I see it. I got it. I like turtles. Don't go shitting on Final Fantasy. I wasn't shitting on Final Fantasy. Who will be on the red carpet this year? For what, dude? How do they not know that? I mean, it's just what it is, Travis. A lot of people... The reason they call television the boob tube is for a reason. People that just watch it kind of just shut off their brain, man. They're just like... Oh. And that's what it is. I thought it was because you see boobs. Well, yeah, sure. I'm ready for the nominations for the internet to literally melt when certain games get announced or don't get announced. Because people will be like, it's robbed. I honestly don't care. We got our nominations in. I want to see if the community is right about the 6 nominations and see how good we got of the 6. Out of all these games that came out, what 6 are going to be nominated for Video Game of the Year? What happened to the kid that crashed last year's Game Awards? Nothing. I think he became an internet stardom, if I remember correctly. Spider-Man 2 or Tears win all the things. I don't think... Did Spider-Man make the cutoff? Hold on a second. Competition before November 17th. Oh, yeah. It made it. Because I know it didn't make the cutoff for the Joystick Awards. Dude, why is my music not playing? Will Smith should host the Game Awards. So wait, that doesn't make sense though. Wait a minute. It has to come out before Friday, November 17th, 2023 at 9 p.m. Titles that are released after this date will be eligible for the Game Awards 2024. I have a question though. Today's the 13th, right? So you're telling me if a game comes out right now, after the nominations are happening right now, it can still make an award? I'm a little confused by this. Shouldn't that date say today? Aren't they announcing right now who are the nominations? How can I have a game before the cutoff date of November 17th, and yet they're announcing the nominations today? I'm a little confused. They're just saying that? What do you mean? The cutoff date's the cutoff date. It should have been last Friday or whatever it was. Today's the 13th. The 17th is this Friday. Avatar can still win. Is it coming out by Friday? I mean, it's not. They cut off last Friday. They're just saying in case it's messed up. No, they're not just saying that. That's the actual cutoff, the 17th. Smurf with guns for the win. Well, I feel sorry for whoever comes out next year because, what's it called? If Grand Theft Auto comes out next year, all video game awards go to that. You know what? It's funny. Again, I haven't played Spider-Man, but I'm reading a lot of the comments in like reviews and stuff, and it's really like split down the middle. Like people like it. I mean, people love it, or people hate it. It's not like it was okay. No, it's like I love it. Best game. Gonna win game of the year. Everyone's like, F this game. It's the worst game. They played it safe. They did all this stuff. Eclipse says, yeah, Grand Theft Auto comes out next year. I guarantee you Skull and Bones is coming out too. Well, I'll tell you what. I said it last week, Eclipse. I don't know if you heard me. I said Skull and Bones will launch the same day as Grand Theft Auto just so they can blame Grand Theft Auto for not selling well. I use Streamlabs OBS. Spider-Man 2 is more Spider-Man gameplay, nothing super surprising. But isn't that what it should be? I mean, I said it before. A game should be here, and then did they raise the bar? Did they raise the bar a little bit? And that doesn't have to be with the entire game. Did they make the swinging better? Did they make the story better? If they did that, then they did a better job than the last game. Starfield should have released 11/17. No, it was 11/11. Oh, you're saying it should have released on the 17th. If it released last year, I think it might have had a chance, but it wouldn't be as polished, I think. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a good idea, 30. Think about it, right? If they released the same day as Grand Theft Auto, they'd be like, well, it just wasn't a good sale because Grand Theft Auto came out the same day. Mo shares his Thanksgiving dinner every year in our Discord. Mo makes me want to like travel to him just so I can come over and have like a meal with him. Does Hogwarts have a chance? I think it does. I think it gets nominated. Should get nominated. Yeah, I don't think it shouldn't get nominated. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I got 47 seconds. Give me 1 second. Had a package delivered at the door. Your last joke? I don't even see what was your last joke. This year's game of the year is Star Wars Outlaws. Damn it, wrong envelope. Steve, now they don't know. No, they didn't make me smirk. I didn't even read it before I left.
There have been so many great games in 2023, and on Thursday, December 7th, we will celebrate the best of the best at the 10th Annual Game Awards, streaming live everywhere from right here at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles.
It's going to get louder.
I'm Jeff Keighley, and it is finally time to reveal the nominees across more than 30 categories. And to help select the winners, you can vote in all categories starting now at thegameawards.com. This is going to be a very special TGA filled with new game announcements from teams around the world, and in the coming weeks we will have much more to share. But now, I am honored to get to the task at hand. Here are the nominees as selected by our voting jury for the Game Awards 2023. For Best Performance, the nominees are Ben Starr as Clive, Final Fantasy XVI. Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis,
Farmer, if you can't
Star
hear,
Wars
then
Jedi
you
Survivor.
might take your finger out of your
Idris
ear.
Elba as Solomon Reed, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Melanie Liebert as Saga Anderson, Alan Wake 2. Neil Newbon as Astarion, Baldur's Gate 3. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. For Best Ongoing Game, the nominees are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. In the category of
Cyberpunk's
Best
in there?
Multiplayer presented by
What?
Discord, Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The nominees for Best Art Direction are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For Best Score and Music, the nominees are Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alonko, Baldur's Gate
Hogwarts
3,
has gotta be in
composer
here.
Borislav Slavov, Final Fantasy XVI, composer Masayoshi Soken, Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi Kobori, and The Legend of Zelda
Wow,
Tears of the
Hogwarts
Kingdom,
didn't get music.
composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
Okay.
The Best Audio Design nominees are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4. Best Adaptation recognizes excellence in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video game worlds and characters. Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation: Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal. For Best Narrative, the nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy XVI, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Games for Impact celebrates thought-provoking games with profound pro-social meaning. This year's nominees are A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sonar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. For Best Independent Game, the nominees are Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. For Best Mobile Game, the nominees are Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis,
Didn't know that was a mobile game.
Honkai Star Rail, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. Best Community Support acknowledges a game for exceptional support, transparency, and responsiveness to players. The nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV, and No Man's Sky.
Okay.
Okay, now it's time for Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a development team that hasn't been on the TGA stage before. In fact, these teams published their first game in 2023. The nominees are Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. For Best VR AR Game, the nominees are Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. For Content Creator of the Year, the nominees are...
Is it me?
Iron Mouse,
It's me.
People Make Games, Whackity, Spreen, and Cypher PK. What's your most
Oh,
anticipated
there's sexes and races
upcoming
against me.
game?
It's 'cause I'm too
Remember,
good looking.
This has to be a game that's officially announced. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws,
That's my vote.
and Tekken 8. Your nominees for Best Action Adventure Game are Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor,
I got a nomination.
and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For Best Role-Playing Game, the jury selected Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XVI, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. In the category of Best Fighting Game, the nominees are
I can't believe that
God of
Hogwarts
Rock,
Legacy has not
Mortal
been on
Kombat
one
1,
list yet.
Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6. The nominees for Best Action Game are Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
It's nice to see Hi-Fi Rush getting on there.
Innovation and accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected by a special committee of accessibility experts, this year's nominees for innovation and accessibility are
Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport,
For best
Hi-Fi Rush,
microtransactions in a game.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. Next up, Best Family Game. The nominees are Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The Best Sim Strategy nominees are Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Cities Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3,
Stop.
Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4. This year, these 5 games are nominated for Best Sports Racing.
Mad.
EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and the Crew Motorfest.
now a look at our esports categories, starting with
Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, and Valorant. Your Best Esport Athlete nominees are Demon 1, Faker, Hydra, Imperial Hal, Ruler, and Zywoo. For Best Esports Team, our committee nominated these teams: Evil Geniuses Valorant, Fnatic Valorant, Game & Gladiators Dota 2, JD Gaming League of Legends, and Team Vitality Counter-Strike. The Best Esports Coach nominees are Potter, Homie, Gumba, Ecstasy, and Zonic. And finally, the nominees for Best Esports Event are 2023 League of Legends World
Farmer.
Championship, Blast TV Paris Major 2023, EVO 2023, the International Dota 2 Championships 2023, and Valorant Champions 2023.
All right, you ready? It's time for our final 2 categories. Best Game Direction, which recognizes extraordinary creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. This year's
If
nominees
Hogwarts is not in
are
this one,
Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, finally, on behalf of the jury,
Oh
I
my
am
God.
proud to announce the 6 nominees selected for outstanding creative.
all right,
and
chat. See if the
technical
community got
excellence.
these 6 correct.
The nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards are
Alan Wake 2, developed by Remedy Entertainment.
Alan Wake 2 Game of the
Baldur's
Year.
Gate 3 from
No one saw
Larian
that.
Studios. Marvel.
Maybe Travis did.
Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games. Resident Evil 4
Oh
from
my
Capcom.
God.
Super Mario Bros.
Oh
Wonder
my
from
God.
Nintendo. And The Legend of Zelda
Oh my
Tears
God.
of the Kingdom from Nintendo.
Resident Evil gets in
you
there with a
have it.
remake.
Those are your nominees for the Game Awards. A highly competitive year for sure, but who will come out on top? Well, you can help select the winners by voting now at thegameawards.com and on our Discord server. I hope you can join us live on Thursday, December 7th for the Game Awards. The TGA Orchestra will be back on this very stage, and as always,
Jesus
we'll pay tribute
Christ.
to our Game of
The
Year
biggest
nominees.
surprise there is
And
Resident
yes, you
Evil
can expect lots
gets
of
in
news
there.
and updates on what's ahead for games in 2024 and beyond. So lock in your votes and get ready to celebrate 10
How the-
years of the Game Awards. We'll see you live
How
on
do you
Thursday,
put a
December
remake
7th.
in there when games come out? Right? That's the only one that I'm upset about. Right? That and Hogwarts not getting nominated for any nominated. I don't even care if it wins. Nominated. I said this a couple weeks ago. If Hogwarts doesn't get in, the industry's broke. If they didn't nominate that game, and obviously we won't have any proof of this, right? But if they didn't nominate that game because of what the author said that had nothing to do with the video game because of politics, this is a joke. It's all a joke. If it comes out that they didn't get nominated because of that shit, oh, that doesn't surprise me, Rose. That doesn't surprise me that Starfield didn't get nominated. All right, so let's look at the. This is. Can I open this up in a different? This is who we had. This is who we had as a community. We had these things up here. Now we had Hogwarts with 22 votes. Okay, then we had Legend of Zelda Kingdom with 22 votes. Then the next one after that, we had 18 with G&M, which was Spider-Man and Starfield. Okay. Then we had at 17, we had Baldur's Gate 3, and D, we had Final Fantasy 16. Now, the ones that came in there for Game of the Year, Resident Evil. Okay. Now, Wonder, we did say could make the list. Okay. None of us voted on it. It only had 6 votes. Okay. But nobody saw Resident Evil. Come on. Did anyone vote Jay? 4 people voted Jay, Resident Evil Remake. I said remakes personally shouldn't get nominated. Okay. I'm very, very surprised by that. Yeah, the remake is the one that shines out for me. That's insane. With all the games that came out this year, a remake. One of the best gaming years with all these games, and Resident Evil. What was the other one? I'm surprised Alan Wake got. Well, not surprised. Not surprised. But I didn't, it wasn't one of my picks. I don't even think, do we even have it? We didn't even have it on our list. Didn't even put it on the list. I'm really shocked that I thought Hogwarts would get score. Right? At least nominated for score. We're not talking about wins here. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care at all that Starfield didn't make it. Let me see if they have it up on. Let me see if they put it up on their site. All right, so let's look at this. These are the 6 games that have made it. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Wonders, and Legend of Zelda. I mean, I'm leaning for the games that I've played, which is only one of these games on here, is Baldur's Gate 3. So, I'm off to vote another day, but that's the that's that category. Can I not click on the next category? Best game direction. Best game direction. Man, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Everyone thinks Nintendo, or I'm sorry, Sony and Xbox are battling it out for stuff. And yet, there's two games from Nintendo in Game of the Year. 2 games for Nintendo. Nintendo just laughs at people. They're like, yeah, you guys compete. We got 2 of our games in there. For Best Narrative, Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel Spider-Man. Nintendo creeping up? There's no creeping up, Nintendo. Soups. Nintendo's has been there since day one, man. Which of the 6? Oh, which of the 6 did you hold on? What's happening here? All right, apparently it's getting bombarded by shit. Everyone's going to the site. Yeah, dude, it's like it's having cripple. Everyone's loading up this thing at the exact same time. Keely's like, Did you pick? Did you really think Wonder was going to make it? I'm not surprised that it's there, right? Because I did say in the past, I said it could be on the list. This one right here irks me. This one and this one I feel, and again, I never played Alan Wake, right? Never played Alan Wake. Never thought Alan Wake would be on this list compared to everything else. I think this one right here stole a spot. Resident Evil 4 Remake shouldn't be on there. The dude says, Todd Howard says, Starfield doesn't need to be nominated because it just works. Here's another one that I'm very shocked. I'm very shocked. Come on. Best score. Okay. I'm shocked that Hogwarts didn't make it, but looking at this list, I do know Alan Wake has really good soundtrack. Obviously, Baldur's Gate is up there for that. Final Fantasy, this is surprising but not surprising, right? Hi-Fi Rush being on multiple lists, I'm happy for it because it's a really good game. Fantastic soundtrack. Maybe it should be time they add another category or another spot 6 in this category. This is score and music. I don't know why it's not clicking over. The site's having, like, a conniption. Here's another one. Best audio design. Again, Dead Space, I don't think should be there. I don't care if you guys like the game or not. It's a remake. I don't think remake should ever be nominated. They had their time to shine back in the day. I don't think remake should be there. I know I may be biased, but don't we feel like some games got screwed this year? I mean, we knew it was going to happen. I'm surprised didn't get a nod for score with music is awesome. I'm surprised Spider-Man didn't get a nod for score and music. It did. It did. Didn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's sound design. Never mind. It was sound design. You're correct, Rose. Best ongoing. What was the game that was best ongoing? Was it Cyberpunk? Was Cyberpunk? Why I didn't click you. I didn't click you, score and music. I clicked best ongoing. This is weird. Okay. Cyberpunk's an ongoing game because of the DLC. Isn't ongoing like an actual game that's still ongoing? They couldn't put another game in here. There's no other game they could have put in here. Cyberpunk 2077 DLC got nominated in a category. Is that normal? I mean, I don't remember DLC being nominated as a standalone thing, but I mean, we are healing. And Destiny's not on that list for best ongoing. So that's an improvement, right? That's an improvement. I didn't click that. Why? You have to fix your site, Keely. I'm picking RPG, buddy. I'm picking RPG. Best RPG. I mean, not only is Baldur's Gate 3 going to win Best RPG, but it's going to win Best Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win so many awards, it's going to be insane. This is really not a good look for Microsoft, all joking aside. But why? They got games up there. What came out this year in like first party titles? You have Gran Turismo, or not Gran Turismo, sorry. Forza Motorsports. You got Starfield and you got Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is on a couple of lists. No. Apparently it doesn't want to click on the thing I'm clicking on. That's twice now. I've clicked on best action game. Third time's a charm? Nope. It doesn't want me going to action. There it is. Right? Hi-Fi Rush is on there. Hi-Fi Rush is up there for multiple things. That's a good look for that. I think this is actually a really good category here for what's on this list for best action game. Hi-Fi Rush is a sleeper, man. It's a fantastic game. Best action adventure. Again, I think Resident Evil stole a spot. I just can't fathom not one category Hogwarts Legacy made it in. Yeah, Dolphin did get nominated for one. Not one thing. Yeah, Dead Island got nomination for Best Action Game. Best Fighting Game. I haven't heard anyone talk about these three. God of Rock, Nickelodeon, and Pocket Bravery. Didn't even know what these are. I mean, I've heard of Nickelodeon All Star Brawls 2, but Pocket Bravery and God of Rock, have no idea what this is. I'll tell you what, Mo. If Hogwarts got snubbed because of the whole politics stuff, that's a bad look on the gaming industry, man. Personally, I think. That's a bad vote. There's no proof. But not being nominated for one thing. That's crazy. Right. It's a horrible look. I would have nominated for something, anything. Right? It's not like you're giving it to them. It's a nomination. It doesn't have to win. But you didn't nominate that game for anything. And that game came out beautiful, right? The attention to detail, the art direction, the music, right? The story, everything about it. And it didn't get one nomination in any of the categories. It's insane. It's going to come out, we all know. If it comes out, if there's a story to break that someone says, well, they didn't nominate Hogwarts Legacy, and it's true, and it has sources and whatnot, because of the politics, I'm going to have a different outlook in gaming 100%. That's going to decredit everything moving forward for me. And if nothing comes of it, it is what it is. I'm very surprised. Yeah, dude, I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all. I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all. Even for like soundtrack, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy, Starfield, Hogwarts, and one more. Those have amazing soundtracks. Yeah, it just looks. Oh, right, Mo? If it comes out, the Video Game Awards show loses a lot of respect. And I have to admit, behind the scenes, 'cause I've been a part of some of these things before, like in the, just award shows and stuff. And there are things that go on behind the scenes of, is it worth the hassle of doing something or not doing something? What's the better one that they can overcome? Here's another one I'm very surprised with, especially because of the news of it, right? I love City Skylines. But City Skylines 2, 1, got pushed to the next year for their console versions, and their PC versions in the toilet right now. It's unplayable. And yet, it got nominated for Best Sim/Strategy Game, Best Game Focused on Real-Time or Turn-Based Simulation of Strategy Gameplay in respective of platform. It's literally broke. Like, broke, unplayable. I didn't even realize it. I missed it when they said it. Motorsports got nominated. Best multiplayer. Who do you think wins best multiplayer? People just want to create controversy? Well, there literally was controversy for Hogwarts Legacy. Rose. That wasn't made. That was controversy. Resident Evil 4 is an awesome game, but it's a remake. Remakes should not be in the years anything because it's already came out before. I agree. My biggest worry, does this open remakes and contenders going forward? I mean, I guess it does. I just can't imagine in a world where brand new games, new IPs, sequels to IPs came out and they gave it to a remake. They took a position, one of the spots, the elusive 6 spots, and they gave it to Resident Evil. Come on. Oh, I agree, Rose. That's why I said if something comes out and that is the reason, then it's gonna have repercussions. At least for me, I won't take anything serious that they ever do. Personally, right? Obviously, if nothing comes out from it, it's still a little like that game is an amazing game, and it didn't get one nomination. And I'm not bringing it up as Resident Evil because I'm a content creator, and I think I literally think remakes should not be on there, especially when so many games came out. So many. I mean, again, look at all the games, and this is what we had, and we don't even have Alan Wake on here and whatnot, right? I mean, look at this list. 6 games on here. Yeah, we had Resident Evil on here, right? And we have Dead Space. And we talked about it 4 months ago. I said, I don't think remakes would make it. In my world, they don't make it, right? And you're telling me out of all these other games, you couldn't nominate Armored Core, right? You couldn't nominate an independent game like Dredge, right? Diablo 4, Hi-Fi Rush, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, new games that have not been in the limelight before. He says, I love saying Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Stars. Yeah, games like that, right? New games. They get to see the light of day. What is happening to my... One of my friends is saying it's not politics. It was just too niche. It's literally like the top selling game of the year. If not second. Did you tell him that Baldur's Gate 3 is also niche? And that's in like, I don't know, 8 categories? I want to see something. What game? Okay. Resident Evil 4 back in 2005. Okay? 2005. God of War, Resident Evil 4, Call of Duty 2, World of Warcraft, and Fear were the Game of the Year nominations. Resident Evil 4 won Best Action, or was nominated for also Best Action. Okay, Best Action. Let me see if it was any other categories. Well, that's all we have, right? And I don't know what won that year. Let me see if I can find what won that year. What game won 2005? God of War. God of War won in 2005. Okay, so Resident Evil 4 wasn't even the best game in 2005, and now they remade it. And it's up against, right? It's up against everything else. And if, let's be honest here, right? You think Resident Evil 4 should be on that category. If it wins, do you think it's better than Baldur's Gate 3? Does anybody think that Resident Evil 4 remake is better than Baldur's Gate 3? Or Spider-Man? Or Zelda? Well, that's not surprising, Soy. Well, Call of Duty doesn't win very many awards. The only award that they care about is purchases and the money in their pocket. That's where Call of Duty wins hand over fist over everybody else. I still feel some of the type of way that Sifu was nominated for fighting game last year. That's not a fight. That's not a fight game. If Resident Evil 4 beats any of these other games, I will never watch the award show ever again. That's a promise. I will never cover the award show again. If Resident Evil 4, that didn't even beat the games that when it originally came out, wins over any of these other games in the top nominations, if Resident Evil 4 wins Game of the Year, I will no longer watch the Video Game Award show. Ever. I will never, ever cover the Video Game Award show ever again. Mo, that's a promise. If Resident Evil 4 wins this year, Game of the Year over these 5 other ones, I will never, ever watch it again. It didn't even win in 2005. Who cares? It's about the best esports coach. I would watch just for the reveals. Oh, that's fine. I'll still watch it. I said I wouldn't cover it. It's not even worth it for me, El. Every time I cover it every year, they hit me with so many copyright claims that I can't even show that video anyway. So it's no skin off my back. Travis was like, I can see how Resident Evil 4 Remake wins and Mike rips out the rest of his hair. Nobody in chat honestly thinks Resident Evil 4 is better than the other 5 games here, right? Doesn't honestly believe that Resident Evil 4 is better than the other 5 games here. Oh, Kylo, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Just know on your birthday, Resident Evil 4 is going to win. Travis is like, I honestly believe that Resident Evil... Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Sequels are different than remakes. They literally call it a remake. You're talking about Dead Space, right, Rose? That you said was different than the original. Resident Evil 4 is literally a remake. Still steaming about Hogwarts. I can't get them making some categories about Skylines 2 gets the nod despite being unplayable in the 490. Destiny 2 despite all the community teams BS. And no Hogwarts. Well, Destiny 2 didn't make a list, did it? I don't think Destiny made a list. Did I miss it? I don't remember seeing Destiny made the list on anything. They weren't in best ongoing, right? They weren't best ongoing. Oh, did it make best community support? Oh, well, I stand corrected. I thought it wasn't on any list. See, we haven't healed as a community yet. Best community support for Cyberpunk. Oh, God. There's no other games that you could have put on here. I think sequels should have less weight versus new IPs, but remakes shouldn't be eligible. I'll agree with that. A remake is a game that literally had its time to shine out before. Otherwise, why don't we just keep re-releasing? Was Skyrim... Did Skyrim get to go be best game of the year every year? When they release it the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 12th time? I know people are going to be like, well, no, it's the same game. No. It's just a remake, redone, remastered. Let's throw it out there. Chapter 8, that's what I'm saying. It looks, and again, I want to make it perfectly clear. I'm not saying they did it because of it, but because of all the controversy around Hogwarts when it came out, and people wanted to boycott it because of just stupid things that had nothing to do with the actual game itself, speaks volumes right now, because the game came out, one, it worked. Right? They made a game, they sold a game. It's beautiful. Art direction, story, gameplay, score, everything about the game. They then released it for the older gen systems, and it worked flawlessly on those systems as well. And now they're releasing it on the Switch, and it looks pretty goddamn good for the Switch. No one's played it yet because it comes out, I think, tomorrow or later this week. Okay. And it didn't get nominated at all. We're not talking about wins here, right? We're not talking about wins. We're talking about a nomination of a game that 100% should be nominated for something. Maybe Hogwarts didn't make the list because Warner Brothers didn't get the check into Jeff Keighley in time. Maybe. Let me see if the Joystick Awards. Do they have the nominations? Joystick. Because we saw the winners, but I want to see the nominations. The nominees. All right, so we got Best Audio. Hogwarts is not on the list. Best Storytelling, not on the list. Best Game Community, obviously not on the list. Best Expansion, it won't be there. Best Gaming Hardware, no. Best Indie Game, Best Multiplayer, Best Visual Design. That's Nintendo, that's PC, that's PlayStation, that's Xbox. Still Playing Award, not on there. Studio of the Year, not on there. Best Game Trailer, not on there. Most Warranted Game, not on there. Best Lead Performer, nothing on there. Best Performer, nothing. Ultimate Game of the Year, not even on the list. Okay? So, here's something that kind of gives more credence to what I'm saying now. Okay? There's no nominations. 0 nominations for Hogwarts Legacy. Are you kidding me? This is insane. See, I didn't follow the Joystick Awards. We just saw the winners, and I'm like, fine. But now no nominations for Hogwarts in the Video Game Award show, and there's no nominations for Hogwarts in the Joystick Awards. Coincidence? Perhaps. But it looks pretty damning that it didn't get nominated for anything. I'm looking to see. Is Hogwarts the best-selling single-player game? I believe it is. Eclipse. Yeah, Jones, Hogwarts wasn't on any list on the Video Game Awards, and now on the Joystick Awards that already announce their winners or whatnot, it wasn't nominated for any category in there as well. Best audio in their nominations was Stray Gods, Hi-Fi Rush, Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, Starfield, Legend of Zelda, Tears of Kingdom, and Final Fantasy 16. I don't know if they forgot about it, Tiny. I don't know. So what we're saying is that it did get nominated because it was too early in the year? I mean, perhaps. I get not wanting to deal with it. I commented on the Hogwarts Facebook page when the game came out, and people posted on my profile to a blog. It tended to give trolls a list of people to attack. But the nods are not based on sales, so that doesn't matter. No, I get that, Rose. It doesn't really matter if it's the highest selling game. But it literally does everything good in the industry. Like, all the categories, it didn't get nominated, not once. So far, is there another award show that we need to know about? Is there one more award show that already made the winners that haven't been announced yet? When did Zelda come out? That came out May 12th. So a couple months after. So apparently any game that comes out after or before May is you can't do it. Even though Hi-Fi Rush came out in February or January, didn't it? Didn't Hi-Fi Rush come out January? Yeah, January 25th. It's the earliest game, and people still remember that. Newsweek article about Hogwarts most anticipated in 2022 started the debate. So they avoided it this year. Interesting. I'll be honest. The two shocking things. I was shocked that it didn't get a nomination. And then when we just went back to look at the Joystick Awards and it didn't get nominated there either, I think there's again, my personal opinion, not saying it happened, but it makes a bigger picture to me that the reason it didn't get nominated is not because there was better games than it. It was because no one wanted to deal with the pushback. Because let's be honest, if it did get nominated, people would be back on the bandwagon of this game sucks so much, whatever, and they'd be protesting. So they just got rid of it completely. They don't want to be on a list. They don't want to be on anything. Most anticipated last year has nothing to, and nothing this year. Must be a conspiracy. I wonder if we, and I don't know if I want to do the research, Z, but I wonder if we went back and did the most anticipated game of 2021 and see where it lands in 2022 and so on, and keep going back, right? 18th most anticipated, it comes out, was it on the list? Hold on, I'm trying to do a quick search. What's the category called? Is it best most anticipated? Is that what it was? Most anticipated. So the most anticipated game last year was the winner. Hogwarts was nominated. Final Fantasy 16 was up there. Resident Evil 4 was up there, and Starfield was up there. Game of the year this year: Zelda, Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil. Starfield wasn't up there, and Hogwarts wasn't up there. And those are the most anticipated ones. So now let me go back 1 year. Most anticipated in 2021 for 2022 was Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, which was Tears of the Kingdom, and Starfield, right? Obviously, Starfield and Legend of Zelda didn't come out last year, right? They came out this year. And God of War, Elden Ring, and Horizon, weren't they all nominated for Game of the Year? Let's go back to 2020. Let's go back to 2020 now. Most anticipated, all right? Elden Ring, God of War sequel, Halo Infinite, Horizon Forbidden West, Legend of Zelda, and Resident Evil. All those games still on, minus Halo Infinite. I don't think Halo Infinite got nominated for any fucking thing, right? That's just off the list because it was a broken game when it came out, right? Was it on the list, though? I think it might have been on a list. I'm pretty sure it was on a list. But all those games, in some way, shape, or form, either became Game of the Year or were nominated for Game of the Year. Did they? I don't even think they did. They don't do most anticipated back in 2019. I think Player's Choice was the one. Player's Voice. Yeah. They added that in 2020. Can publishers opt out of this list? I don't know. Ron says Baldur's Gate 3 started as a Stadia game. Therefore, Stadia game will win. Excuse me. Well, regardless on what, the two shockers for me was no nominations for Hogwarts and a nomination for Resident Evil. Other than that, I think everything else is fine. Honestly, I think everything else is fine. I'm a little perplexed on how Hogwarts didn't get one night of a nomination. But as we went back and looked at the Joystick Awards, it also didn't get nominated there as well. So I'm assuming people are just staying clear, which is sad if it comes out and it's true. Because people, hopefully, someone out on the internet, someone that's a journalist or something, will kind of dig into a little bit more. But I don't think they will. But the breadcrumb trail is there a little bit, right? 2 award shows. Now, if BAFTA, I think it is, the British Awards, if there's no nominations over there for Hogwarts Legacy, then I think someone needs to do some sort of investigative report on why Hogwarts Legacy, which came out It's one of the top selling games of the year. Not that that has anything to do with nominations, but also is not a broke game. Came out, sold well, sound design, art direction, gameplay, everything. Everything about the game is a beautiful game, hence why it was popular and sold very well with a niched market. Okay? It's one of the best-selling games of the year, and yet it doesn't get any nominations from any awards. I would like to know more in depth of why a game like that wouldn't get nominated. We're not talking about wins here. We're talking about playoffs. We're talking about nomination. A nomination. Now you know how Ghost of Tsushima felt? Didn't Ghost of Tsushima get nominated for anything? I'm pretty sure it got nominated. We're not asking for wins. We're just asking for a nomination. Yeah, playoffs. When's the BAFTA, right? That's what it's called. When do they happen? Let's see. The 76th British Academy Film Awards. Television award nominations, BAFTA. Video awards. '19th annual British Academy Game Awards. That already happened, so we won't see that until February. March. It comes out in March, so we won't know anything about that until later. Let's see. Eligibility. 2015. That is the rulebook of BAFTA 2015. Game Awards is available from awards entry information page. Entries are invited by the British Gaming Awards of 2015. So the game is eligible as long, and this is old, but this is the same. It applies every year. So any game eligible as long as it's been and will be released in the UK between January 1st and 31st of December of that year. So any game that's this year, we'll find out the awards of the BAFTA in March of next year. No, BAFTA happened earlier this year for last year, 2022. So 2023 won't happen until March of 2024. Yeah, but wasn't... Okay. What year did Ghost come out? Ghost of Tsushima? 2020. Okay. You're bringing up Ghost of Tsushima, Travis, but it's not the same. It's not the same situation as a Hogwarts Legacy. Literally, I just bringing it up. It got nominated for multiple awards. Look, Game of the Year, it got nominated. Best Game Direction got nominated. Best Narrative got nominated. Best Art Direction, it won. Best Score, is it there? No, it's not there. Best Audio Design, it got nominated. It literally got nominated 5 times and won 1, so it's 1 out of 4. Let's see what else. Best performance, no. Games of impact, no. Best ongoing, best indie game, best mobile, best community, best action game. Yeah, 6 categories. 6 categories it got nominated for. It's not even close to the same example. 7. Player's voice. It won. It got nominated. It got nominated for 7 awards and won 2. Right? It's not the same. It lost because of politics? That's completely different, though. Sure, it lost politics because of the game that won, because you're saying that it was woke and that's why it won. Sure, but at least it got shown to the people that it's a good game, and it got nominated for 7 awards. I'm not talking about wins here. I don't give a shit about wins. Wins means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's the nominations. Any game that gets nominated basically it's time to shine, because people are like, oh, I didn't even know that was a good game, right? But that's different, though, Travis. The politics of who wins and loses, that's not my... You're bringing up a completely different point. I'm bringing up that, yes, there's politics involved potentially where Hogwarts didn't get nominated. But at least in your example, you're like, well, Ghost of Tsushima fans are pissed because it didn't win. It got nominated for 7 awards, and it won 2. At least it got nominated. In no way, shape, or form can you say, oh, Ghost of Tsushima is a bad game. It got nominated for 7 awards. That's my point, Jones. All nominations are winners. Doesn't really matter who wins. I'm surprised that the game didn't get nominated. Right, Chapter 8. Right? There's games that literally can't function, and they got nominated. It got nominated. I don't care. Like, I wouldn't have this conversation if Hogwarts got nominated and didn't win anything. I'd be like, all right, cool. At least it got nominated. It looks a little strange. That 2 major awards handed out and the game's not nominated. Say what you want. I'll say what I want. And I think what I'm saying is that it didn't get nominated in both awards because people don't want to deal with the backlash that Hogwarts brought the first time. Taya says, are we surprised that Hogwarts didn't make any nominations from any award show? The drama around IP's author would overshadow that actual reward event. Right, Tiny, that's what I'm saying. The reason they're not nominating it is because they don't want any of that backlash that happened the first time around. Which is a shame. If it comes out and that's the reason they didn't do it, it's a shame. Because if that's the case, right, let's just break that down for a second. If what I'm saying is actually true, which I'm not saying it is, but if it actually comes out and that is the reason they didn't want the backlash or the drama that happens, it literally, in my opinion, throws everything out the window, because then it's not about what's good or bad for the industry. It's literally what's good or bad for that award show to not get crap on, which then takes all justification and all, like, respect out of the awards, because they don't want to deal with the backlash of what their fellow gamers, because these are voted on, okay? 90% is voted on people in the industry itself. Outlets that recover games, other studios that make games, And the final say comes down to what they're doing, and it didn't get any nominations from any award shows, and that to me is a little fishy. I don't know if it's for that community or not, Dupless. I'm just saying it seems a little odd. And we can please recognize that the people we're talking about are a small minority of small minority. Most LGBTQ and woke generally were like, yeah, I'm not playing the game. I don't care. Game in favor and wins, but a game creator against it snubs it on the freaking wall. It's all bigger than the game itself. It's the money behind the games. Got to get the ESG score. Let's do our own proper award show. If I had a huge viewership, like if I had millions of people following me, that would be fun to do, right? But when we do even a small poll in our Discord or anything, we get like 20 people voting. I want to look up one more thing. Hold on one second. And the winner goes to Star. I wouldn't pick Starfield. I wouldn't pick Starfield. Are we betting on the number of video articles on Starfield not getting nominated? Oh, it's going to be big. Right now, I said if it doesn't get nominated, people are going to... There's going to be tons of stuff talking about it. And if it did get nominated, it would get more, right? So, it's going to be huge. The internet right now is melting down. I'm melting down about completely something different. dude says, Shatter, so basically what you're saying is that if a game is good, people will play it. And if a movie is good, people will watch it. Wow. Right. Like earth-shattering, right? Like, there's a difference between, like, popular movies because the sheep follow, but when you watch the actual movie, right? Like, a movie can make a lot of money, and a game can make a lot of money. But then people start playing it and looking at the game and going, it's not a good film. It's not a good game, right? It just means a lot of people were tricked to go watch the movie within the first period of time. After that, people start talking about it and go, it's a good movie. It's a good TV show. It's not so good. Video games not good, right? There wasn't that many bad things said about Hogwarts besides what the author said that had nothing to do with the game. I can't wait till next year. Are you ready for this? Now that remakes and ongoing games like Cyberpunk, I can't wait for like the DLC of like Starfield that comes out, and Starfield's on the list next year for best ongoing game. You're like, what? You can't do that. Not every comment, but definitely some comments. But people who make sexist, homophobic comments will never recognize that what they never had in the first place. Yeah, I never understood people like that. If you don't like something, you don't like something. But to go out of your way to, say certain things to certain people or organizations or whatever, just, I mean, I'm not offended that people call me. If I don't like a movie like the Marvels, which I haven't seen, I'm not going to see it, right? And they call me, well, you're not seeing it. It's your fault that it bombed at the box office, right? And they call me sexist or racist or whatever. It'd be like, all right? The only way people get offended by stuff like that is if they actually think that's what they are. See, I know I'm not those things. Yeah, it's just silly. Yeah, see, I'm not mad that Alan Wake is on the list. It's getting really good reviews. People really like it. I've seen gameplay. I'm like, wow, that looks pretty impressive. Right? I know nothing. I didn't play the first one. Didn't play the second one. But I'm not surprised that it's on the list. Well, I think it's always going to happen. Chapter 8, right? There's always going to be. Again, I'm a small community, right? So when I go live, we have 30 people. So if one person says something, it's gonna be amplified, right? Because out of the 30 people that are here, how many are actually talking? 17, 18, right? And then the one person says something and it amplifies. So I don't think you can get. And as you grow the community, you're always going to have those people, right? There's some people that just say without filtration in their head. There's other people that say it just to get shock value out of other people, just because they can do it because they're anonymous behind the keyboard type of stuff. So the difference between when I say something or when someone types something is that you see my face. You know who I am, right? I'm not hiding behind I'm not hiding behind anything. There's always going to be haters. There's always people that give me a thumbs down, right? Without ever watching the content. There's always someone that comes in and does says something stupid, or I delete from the chat. Sometimes you guys don't even see it because I have such a good filtration system into YouTube that when certain people say certain things, it doesn't even show up in your chat. I see, right? But most people don't see it, or actually none of you see it. There's always going to be people, no matter what community you're in. There's not that perfect community out there. Yeah, and Travis would fall under the just say shit to kind of throw the grenade into the chat. Just found out that Arcane Season 2 drops next November. Next November? Oh my god. When I read it first, I saw it, Season 2 drops, and I deleted next and just saw November. I was like, drops November. I'm like, all right, cool, we're in November. And then I went back, next November? Oh, for God's sakes. That was a great show. Didn't that come out in 2021? Did that come out in 2021? What? Why do they announce Mass Effect, Travis, when it comes out in 2029, 2030? Chapter 8, I look at it as, and I'm not talking about Travis here, right? Because Travis talks to me in Discord, right? He does direct message to me and stuff like that, right? This is not to you, Travis, right? But with people like Travis that just come out and say certain things, I pretend they're like farts in the wind, right? You ever been in line and someone farts, does a little crop dust, and you're like, what the fuck, right? You don't really say anything to that person. You just kind of let it go. Because within seconds, right? Within seconds that the smell passes, and then you kind of look around and you try to see who made it, right? I don't say anything because if you say something, certain people continue to say what they say. And if you ignore it, hence why I filter out a lot of people, okay? They come and go. Because they're typing away, right? And it doesn't get shown. And they think that people are not responding to them. And if no one responds to them, they go away. Oh, you're good, Chapter 8. I do it all the time. Because sometimes I read stuff out loud without reading it out, first. I don't glance at it first. I just read it and I'm like, oh, God. 30, some of the Xbox are going with media bias narrative against the Xbox. L, you won't find me trying to convince anyone that Starfield is supposed to be Game of the Year. Like I said, I'm on the other foot here. I'm out. Everyone's going left. I'm going right. I'm disappointed that Hogwarts Legacy didn't get nominated because of bias, because people don't want to talk about certain things. They don't want to be a part of it, right? Everyone's over here, as my voice cracks as I'm 45. Everyone's over here, okay? And I'm over here talking about Hogwarts and why Resident Evil shouldn't be nominated. I'm still going through puberty, Travis. It's just what it is. I might be on the outside a 45-year-old, but my interior has just turned 18. So I'm still going through puberty. I think a lot of people on the internet, and this is just the way society, and this is my outlook on it. A lot of people on the internet are socially awkward, right? Or socially awkward. A lot of people don't have a lot of people that they talk to in person. They talk to people online, and sometimes that online persona, you can't. Not me particularly, like as I'm a persona on the internet, but like just all of us. Like if we're just typing away in a chat room or something like that, if you don't know those people that you're talking to, unlike cats and dogs when they're puppies, they play with each other and they're in a little group, and one bites too hard, the other yelps, and then this one goes, "Oh, I hurt that person." Over texting, it's hard to distinct what people are joking about or not joking about or poking fun of each other. Right, so there's a wall that's missing or in the way of people don't understand sarcasm, right? I'm a very dry sense of humor, sarcastic person. Okay, you can see that because I'm talking on a microphone and you can see it. Okay, but a lot of people that don't know that, if they come in for the first time and hear me, they think I'm serious, right? Because they don't know me. When you're with your friends and you poke fun, hey dickhead, hey this, whatever. It's not like you hate that person. It's that banter back and forth. It's that puppy or kitten biting each other and making fun of each other and going, hey, a little too far, type of thing. On the internet, that's not a thing. On the internet, if two people know each other and they're talking back and forth, and then someone comes in and makes that other joke, they're like, oh, they're like, a little too far there, right? They're like, who the hell are you? We don't know you, right? And that's the thing. And a lot of people are socially awkward, and they don't know what too far is. They say stuff on the internet, and then they get shuttered back because they're like, oh shit, I said something, and then they don't say anything anymore. Here we go. Everything in noms is some kind of conspiracy or agenda. Someone needs to writes a book for 30 called "So You're Going Through Puberty Again." That's right. Again. Would I gone through it before? Maybe I'm just going through it now. Oh, no, I wasn't saying you, Chapter 8. I'm just saying people in general on the internet are socially awkward, right? They don't know how to communicate to certain people because they never had those communications in real life. As you can tell, I'm a pretty laid back, chilled dude. I said it in my Discord the other day, right? In my Discord the other day, like, people argue, and I say, look, you come into my Discord, it's meant for adults that have conversations. If you don't want to have a conversation and you're going to bicker back and forth with each other and make, you're going to go over that line, disrespect someone or not be respectful, then you don't need to be here, type of thing. Right? Water. I know you get offended very easily. What? You don't play Spider-Man 2? Why is Dupless there then? Dupless has been there, Travis. Dupless has been in my community. It is 7, 8 years? Maybe even longer. Dupless is one of the OG first people to ever come in my streams, I think. Like, I think he's one of the first people to come watch me. He's pretty early on. Chapter 8 says, I'm more awkward in real life. Such a better on the internet personality. I'm like the guy from Scream. Yeah, Diblis. Because, see, Travis did a bite, and Dupless is coming out with a baseball bat. Children, behave. I'll turn this stream around. The 1:30 already? All right. I'm going to get going. I appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out. We'll be back tonight for some more. I don't know if we're going to play. Yeah, we're going to finish RoboCop tonight. We're going to try to finish RoboCop tonight. I don't even know how close we are to finishing RoboCop. We're going to play more RoboCop tonight. How about that? We're going to play more RoboCop tonight. If you like RoboCop, you want to come by, hang out, chat, we'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, we have plenty of uploads and shorts that I've uploaded in the last, 6 days, 5 days. So if you like any of the content we create, if it's uploads, if it's live streams, past broadcasts, podcasts, shorts, it's all there for you. We do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us. Other than that, we'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll do breakout videos of the ones that we did today, and those will be uploaded later in the week. And I'll see you guys later. I appreciate you guys coming out. Peace.